Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. And yes, don't you worry, never fear. The Merle will soon be here as we have Ghosts of the Great White North tonight. And it's going to be a great show overall with Melissa and Jake showing up, hanging out with us as well. But first, we have to say hello to all of you. We got Laura Lobbs in the gold medal position, Race Fan with the silver, Kurt M. with a nice bronze medal tonight. Hello there, Jimmy Gonzalez and Roy Boy. Marie Palmer, how are you? Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, Jennifer Patterson, and Canna Chef Chris, how are you? Aaron Bacca, nice to see you. LaDonna Blackwood has returned. LaDonna will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Kevin, Missouri Man, T-Bone, Dirt Road, nice to have you here. Well, look who's here, everybody. And you know what? When you're merling it as hard as Race Fan is, it's hard to top the Dot. Yeah. Shane Period Dot merling it up huge tonight for his once-a-month pleasure of Spaced Out Radio. Noble Patrick and number 26 in your program, starting at right wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. Nice to see you both. Hello, Flat Six and Tim Mothman's goatee. Good to see you. Jenny White Bear, we love you. Digger Dog, thank you for coming on in. And there's Space Cadet. Space Cadet will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Even Merle's merling himself. That's how serious this merling is. Kathy Evans, nice to see you. And the purple-haired Pixie Lara, thank you for joining us. And let's see here. Mary Merle Miss. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's just beautiful, isn't it? SG Nav Spotter, Eternity Eternal, Deer Slayer, Skip to My Lou is ready to merle it up as we continue on with roll call. Jessica Davenport, thank you for joining us. Hi, Chris716 and Christine Lynn. Phil Minervino, where have you been hiding lately? Good to have you back, my man. Thank you for joining us. The Soothsayer, Buckethead, nice to have you here, my man. Thank you for joining us. Continuing on with our roll call tonight. And we have a lot of merling going on. Oh, yeah. Yep. Who else is here? Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Hello, Dragonfly. Thanks for joining us. And let's see, who else is here? Susan Alloway. Nice to see you. And T-Bone, my man, again. And just another guy named Harry. And Ren, where's Stimpy? Good morning. Welcome to SOR Chat. Okay, Ren Hoke. That's so funny that somebody named Ren comes into the chat room tonight. And literally about 6 hours ago, talking to Merle, I said, you know what? You probably like the name Ren Hoke. Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. Love those synchronicities. DB Nobody, how are you, my man? And who else is here? Stargazer, Two Heads. Nice to see you all. You guys are all caught up. Let's get the radio side started. We say hello to everybody listening in on the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. It's Ghost of the Great White North with our main man, Merle. as we wait for Bill WD-40 to enter the chat room and lube us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. None of that rigid stuff. You know what I'm saying? Smooth, people. Just smooth. All right. T-Bone, my man, kicking off the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you, T-Bone. And hello, Simon the Likeable from Australia. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And we got like 30 seconds left. I don't know what we're doing. There's Bill. He's lubing as we speak over in the Spreaker chat. That's good lubing, Bill. Very good lubing. All right. 20 seconds. You can head on over to spacedoutradio.com. We do not have ugly swag, people. We actually have clothes that you want to wear to more places than a garage sale. Yes. Yeah, you don't want to paint with our shirts. Nope. You don't want to use them to pick up the dog doo-doo in the backyard. Nope. Go get a shop today. Here we go. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got some Christmas woo coming up here momentarily as Merle is back for the final time in 2023 at Ghosts of the Great White North. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton will be here for another edition of Among the Missing. Following that, yep, it's a UFO report. All right. Final time of 2023, we say hello to our main man in the paranormal world, Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. If there's a ghost around him, you know he's going to go sniffing on out and try and get it. Wrap it up in a present, put a little bow on it, and say, here, people, here's the evidence of all things high strangeness and paranormal. We love Merle around here and can't wait to bring him back in for our monthly shows on 2024. Merle, good to have you back, my man. How you doing?
It's fantastic to be here, Dave. I'm looking forward to this show. It's going to be a powerhouse of stories.
Yes, we are also joined by Jacob Rice and Melissa Becker, hanging on out with us to talk about some Christmas goodies when it comes to the paranormal, which I'm always really interested to hear. Very much interested to hear it. So, Merle, you all ready for Christmas?
You know, I'm one of those guys that likes to shop around the 23rd, 24th. So
you look like that guy.
Absolutely. 50% done, Dave. We're 50% done. How about yourself?
You know what? I went out last Sunday, spent 5 hours driving in the mall at like 4 different stores. I shouldn't even say in the mall because there aren't no many malls up here where I live. So had to go to Ukrainian Tire, a.k.a. Canadian Tire. Had to go to Sport Check, had to go to Winners, had to go to Walmart. Got her all done, except some of the big stuff. Our Walmart up here sucks, man. Like
most do.
You know, trying to find certain Transformers in a small town, tough. Very, very tough. That's okay, though. I know what Santa is bringing.
On a side note, Dave, you'll be quite proud of me. You know what I did today? This isn't ghosty talk. This is just real talk. I made 60 pierogies from scratch.
Oh,
Harnessed
nice.
my inner Ukrainian
Love it.
heritage.
Love it.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I quit eating pierogies when my grandmother couldn't make them anymore.
I did the old country recipe. It was good. I can feel the butter in my arteries right now.
Yeah, don't remind me. I got enough butter in my arteries to almost killed me last week, but that's okay. Jake, how you doing? Merry Christmas to you, my friend, because I don't. Happy holidays.
Yep.
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. All the shebang. Good Yule. I think Yule is tomorrow night.
Yeah, you look like a Yulester. You look like a Yuletide. Be honest.
I
Be
got
honest.
it
Jake. When's the last time you went caroling? You seem like a
Oh, you should see him, Carol.
So, I mean, Merle has seen me in. Oh, Melissa has seen me in karaoke action. I will bust out a tune. Christmas caroling, not so much, but I will say, because I'm blonde and blue-eyed, I am half Norwegian. Jag snackar norska, but I'm not going crazy with the Yule.
Let's let the cat out of the bag. What's your other half, brother?
It's English.
No, keep going. Grandma Jones.
Okay. So Grandma Jones is from Inverness, Scotland.
Keep going.
And,
Canada, man.
And so my Grandma Jones, Grandpa Jones, and my mother are from Ottawa, Ontario. Little town outside of that called Arnprior. So if you're familiar with Renfrew, Pembroke type area outside
good
of
hockey
Ottawa.
around there.
Yeah.
Good hockey around there.
Yep. So my mom's side is from that side, or that part, Eastern Canada.
And now, Melissa, we know you're having a blissful time over there. Our radio audience can't see the beautiful Christmas tree that you are sitting in front of, but it looks like you've already got the Christmas champagne going.
I do.
I love the tree.
Got the bubbly. The tree's all up. Presents are almost all wrapped. I'm almost ready to go. Just got some baking to do.
Oh, the baking. Don't even remind me. This is like my first Christmas without my mother.
Oh,
it's going to suck big time because my mother used to make these caramel marshmallow balls that were coated in special K cereal. And this is the first time in over 40 years I will not have them at Christmas. And I am like heartbroken over that. But that's okay. It's a good memory. I'll shed a tear or two and I say, where's the damn marshmallows? But that's okay. And Melissa, be honest. You got all your Christmas shopping done?
I think so. I'm waiting on one thing to arrive from being shipped here, but it's been purchased. Let's just hope it arrives in time.
Right on. It's been a very busy 2023 here on Spaced Out Radio and around. I mean, investigations galore.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, looking back at your 2023, what's your most memorable experience in the paranormal?
Oh, in the paranormal, I got to tell you, Merle drugged me up to Merritt, BC to investigate and film at the Bailey House. And if I could give a stamp for certifiably haunted, I'd totally give it to the Bailey House. Totally.
Dave, you need to burn there.
Well, you know what, Jake? Let me tell you something.
Here
you know how many times Merle has been to the Bailey House?
20. He said he's like they knew him.
Guess how many times Dave has been invited? 0. That is correct.
That is
0.
False media.
0 times have I ever been invited to the Bailey House for an investigation. And
TMZ right there.
I mean, talk about amateur play. Hey, I at least I call him my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what best friends do, is they don't invite you to haunted locations, that are within driving distance. I was actually in Merritt a couple weeks ago, and my son had a hockey game there.
Oh, nice.
Very nice hockey rink, by the way.
It's right next to the Bailey House.
It sure is.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's the house just right around the corner, like the 2-story White House. I think it's white.
That's the
I
Bailey
remember
House.
I didn't even see it. Now, we're going back to Merritt in next month, I think, month or so. I'll have to check it on out, you know. And then if there's snow there, I'm gonna write a big Merle in the snow,
Yellow
Me
snow.
too. Yeah.
right? So, what did you think of the Bailey House?
It was exquisitely maintained. So the Heritage Society that runs it, I forgot, is it Fraser Valley? I forgot the name of the Valley Heritage site. They take very good care of it. Nicola Valley. Sorry, I'm not from around there, so I had to remember correctly. And they knew, what I loved about it is they knew the total history of the house, the families, the personal tragedies that happened there, the reason why it was built, everything exquisitely maintained. Pretty tiny hallways, I gotta say.
And we pulled a Christmas time ghost story out of Sandy, the curator there. Christmas,
Oh.
New Year's time. Remember there when the kids were upstairs?
Yes, from
while
19.
the adults were downstairs doing socializing. There was a man that walked down the hallway holding a dog.
Yeah, and we think that was Cosmo?
Qasim Bigney,
Qasim Bigney.
who lived in the house, and that was a 1950s ghost story.
Yeah, 1957, 1958. The very first time that kind of ghost story witnessed, reported. Yeah, thank you, Sandy, for that tale.
Hey, I want to ask you guys, since that paranormal team went in there and painted over the demon that was drawn on the wall, has the energy changed in there? Has the feeling changed at all?
I would say, yeah, I'll just say, yeah, it has. I feel it's a lot more not overly happy with people trying to communicate with them, where before we had a lot of more positive experiences. This is more of what are you doing here sort of energy, more aggressive energy, dominating energy now. Nothing like evil or anything like that, just I think a more assertive male energy in there that
Oh yeah, on the first floor, for sure.
Yeah.
On the first floor, for sure.
So for people who are wondering what we're talking about, is if you watch our intro on YouTube to this show, we actually show a scene of a chalk drawing of what looks to be like a devil or a demon.
half devil, half angel.
Yeah. And basically it says going up or heading down or something along those lines. And we show that in our intro of the show. Well, this one paranormal group about a year ago now, Merle, 2 years ago.
Oh, it would have been like three
3 years ago,
Yeah.
decided out of their own whim to, without telling the museum, to paint over. They smuggled in paint and painted over that demon because they were told to do so by the other side, and that it was going to bring happier times to the museum. And I don't care for satanic type art or anything like that, but there's something you don't do. You don't mess with a museum. I don't care if you're a paranormal team. I wish that society would have charged them for it, for vandalism. I really do wish they would have taken those steps.
And the thing about the painting, Dave, is nobody knew where it was from. Nobody knew who did it, and it was really old. It was special there.
One of the things that I would find interesting is if in years to come, with the ghosts that are there and the spirits that are there, if one of them drew it, if they will redraw it.
Hmm.
I wonder if they've placed crayons or chalk or whatever near that area to see if it gets done again.
We could try automatic writing even.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We did a lot of experiments there, but we didn't do automatic writing.
Right. Let's go over to you, Melissa. What was your paranormal highlight of 2023?
Of 23? Oh gosh, I think there was two. I can't narrow it down to one.
That's okay.
off 2023 with the North Head Lighthouse investigation, where we got to be part of inventing a new technique. And then in October, I think it was, we did a location in Concrete, Washington, where I had an unusual experience.
Dave, you've
And
been to the pub. You've been to that pub.
yes, I've met the ghost of the pub.
Yeah. So I had the bar, that's a 30-foot long, pure mahogany, like African mahogany bar. Felt like it moved, like it jumped. And then I was trying to recreate it and tell Merle what happened, and it happened again. And of course, the second time I screamed. Not exactly proud up there, but the startle reflex is strong in me. So I've never had that happen before, and I could not figure out how that could have moved. So
Last time I was at that bar, I actually shared my food with the ghost at the end of the bar.
Oh wow.
nice.
And I ordered what he wanted. I went through the menu. I had my K. I know you hate the K2 meter, Jay. Okay. But I had my K2 meter sat at the end of the bar, and him and I went through the menu, and I said, you need to light it up to red lights. What do you want to eat here? I said, this is my order. I'll order you something. What do you want? And it got to chicken strips and lit up on red. So I bought the ghost chicken strips.
They make a good strip.
Yeah. So did he want ranch or did he want barbecue with it or just straight up ketchup?
Oh, I ended up eating them. I'm not going to lie.
But Melissa, that wasn't the most compelling thing to happen to you there
I know.
in the bar.
Well, I think, making me scream is pretty compelling. But yeah, I do feel that I was possibly poked for the first time, and I don't think I've ever been touched before. And I felt as if somebody had poked me right in between the ribs, like a really good poke.
Was that near the back of the bar by the bathrooms?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is the one ghost there that seems to protect the women in there from men trying to intrude into the women's bathroom.
Well, we heard some stories that maybe there were some handsy men too who weren't necessarily trying to protect the women, but maybe give them a little pat.
Did you get your bottom pat?
No, that's what I was expecting. So I was surprised I got poked in the ribs.
My favorite paranormal story of 2023 was watching Merle in the forest
Mhm.
get into one of his famous Merle trances, pick up a shotgun, literally march past us, and then turn, hang a left on the trails in the middle of the forest.
I was armed.
And all of a sudden, about 5 minutes later, you hear Merle, nope, 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 and come marching on back. The team is screaming at him, why do you have the gun? Why did you go off alone when you know we're not supposed to be alone? And Merle can't remember a thing until I ask him, Merle, what did the nopes mean? Something whistled at me, Dave.
I heard something in the bush, man, and it creeped me out. It totally, I don't know what it was to this day. Just thinking back on that, I don't even know why I walked away, but hindsight, I was ready to go if anything came out at me.
Yeah, the old Merle trance there, you know?
Was this up at the plane crash area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, and shortly after we walked back there, and Merle was showing us where he got whistled at, and all of a sudden, way off in the distance, we hear the Sasquatch roar.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that was about a 15-20 second roar, and It set off all the cattle that were free ranging in the area. They wouldn't stop mooing and it led to some other things that we can't talk about right now in the forest. But that was my highlight with the Merle bird in the middle of summer, watching him go marching off like the good Canadian soldier he was, stranding all of us unarmed in the middle of the forest in grizzly bear territory. But don't worry, Merle's off on another trail with the shotgun himself. That's our That's our boy right there. We got 3 minutes to go before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. It's Ghost of the Great White North Christmas edition, final showing of 2023 for our main man Merle of the Paranormal Road Trippers, along with Jacob Rice and Melissa Becker. Looking back on 2023, Jake, would you call it a haunted year? Would you call it a year of a haunting or a year of travel looking for the haunts?
I would say travel looking for the haunts. Yeah. We did a lot of road tripping up as Merle's group. And you know, I would say it was kind of hit or miss when it came to discovering new haunts and activity. But when it was good, like the Bailey House, it was really good. Like the Lighthouse, the North Head Lighthouse at Cape Disappointment. Other than that, not as exciting as other years.
I enjoyed Spokane a lot. Our friend Para Northwest, their house is one of the most haunted houses, if not the most haunted house I've ever been in. And that was the first time I experienced investigating aliens. So that was new for me. I'm still not an alien guy, but I did the college try and did the alien thing.
I saw that video. He was freaking into it. I saw that video.
Yeah.
He's gonna become a ufologist. Are they still called ufologists, by the way?
I don't know what we're called anymore.
Okay.
I don't know what we're called. You know, we're just Woo Man. That's it. Woo Man. Merle the Woo Man.
Woo man.
Uh-huh.
Like
You know, but how about for you, Melissa? Was 2023 a real haunted year for you?
No, I think as compared to some other years, probably not. I think I spent more time researching potential locations that I suspect to be haunted and making those connections. But hopefully that comes, a lot of new wonderful things come to fruition in 2024. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and you know what? For me, you know, it was a little bit historic. It was a little bit trying to get back into the swing of things because we restarted our ghost tour here up at the local museum at the 108 Heritage Site. The good news was we were able to raise for the museum over $10,000
wow.
this year, and it shut a lot of those idiots down at the museum up who were against our tour and thought putting a jail cell in the middle of a barn was going to raise a ton of money, which raised about $64 for the year, you know, but hey, good effort. But it was weird for me because a lot of the ghosts that were normally there are not there, or they're very blasé about coming out anymore. And we have our reasons for that, which is hard to believe. Ghosts can cause drama. Yes, they can. But we have to figure some things out before next year on whether or not we decide to return to the museum next year, because it's just things have to be in the right situation. I love raising money for the museum, but hey, if it's not the right scenario, it's not the right scenario.
Yep.
Jacob Rice, Melissa Becker, and our main man Merle, Ghost of the Great White North. When we return, Christmas ghost stories and hauntings. We're going to get into it right here on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. It's a paranormal night for the next 90 minutes. We'll be right back. All right. Mr. Cowley, how you doing? And yeah, don't everybody talk at once. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to. We have to do some serious. I don't want to say changes, but we either have to see some things changed around the museum,
Mm.
or there's just no point in doing it.
So is it more of a political thing? It's just they
Yeah.
don't want to. Oh, I
Well,
mean,
when we canceled the tour, they said it was due to COVID.
Mm.
And they had this one asshole on the board who accused us of breaking and entering into buildings in off hours, accused us of stealing roof shingles. Yes, because if I'm gonna raise money for your museum, I'm gonna take it out of your ass with roof shingles, right?
yeah.
And because I complained about the jail cell going into the barn.
Why did they think it was a good idea to put a jail
Yeah,
cell in a barn
that's
and
not
not
even
like?
historically relevant, right?
Well, in their eyes, they figured it would be a moneymaker, and they did a good job of it, not to lie. They did a great job of it. The problem is, what happens? What's a jail cell? It's something negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got 4 spirits from that barn that we can't find anymore. We used to be able to take, say, a group of 8 people and take 8 K2 meters, and we would invite the ghost right into the middle of those K2 meters in a circle, and he would light up all 8 K2 meters at once. And he's gone. A couple other of them are gone. And you can't have a tour if the ghosts aren't there. And it's all because of that jail cell, because of the negativity it brought in to the building. And I think what happened, like when Merle and I investigated that jail cell, we actually saw about a 6-foot spider, shadow spider, crawling on the roof.
No.
Yeah.
The oddest thing I've ever seen, because I don't know if it was something trying to startle us, or it was the weirdest thing. One of the weirdest. It was there. That's all I can say.
Just do 6-foot spiders, ghostly or otherwise.
But the weird part about it was, I think the guy from upstairs who lives on the catwalk, I think he cleared out a bunch of that negative energy because it was impeding on his area.
Mm.
And I think he got rid of a bunch of them. So, hi Driftwood, how you doing? Philibaka, nice to see you. Let's see who else is here. House of Mystery radio show on NBC.
I love Al Warren.
Yeah.
Good old Al Warren.
I love that guy.
Lori Bell,
favorite
thank
people.
you for the super chat.
Al writes amazing true crime books too.
Al, I would say Al right now is at least in the top 3 in North America for writing true crime books.
He's awesome.
Guy is amazing.
Have you gone to the Bailey House with him, Merle? I know you did an investigation with him, right?
Hey Dave, guess what? Al Warren's been to the Bailey House with me.
Oh, I know he has. Guess who hasn't? Me.
Oh my gosh.
Al was one of the most accurate. Like he was amazing there. I have one of the first Bailey House video I did a couple years ago. He's in that, and he's an amazing investigator. He's author now, but he put on the pads for one night and came out.
Hello, the gorgeous and talented cryptid huntress. How are you? And yeah, Al's now into naked true crime. Big thank you.
Classic Al.
Big thank you to you, Jake, and T-Bone, and Phil, Louie, and Lori for the amazing super chats. It very much warms my heart that you guys support us that way. Don't forget to head on over to spacedoutradio.com. We do not have ugly swag, people, and you can get your Merle shirts today. Here we go.
I got a shirt.
Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives. They're always free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Here we go. The second half hour goes to the Great White North Christmas edition. Our great friend Merle is back, as well as Jacob Rice and Melissa Becker. Here we go. Merle, lead us off on the Christmas side of things.
Sounds good. I'm going to start this off by saying Jake has some of the greatest creepy wintertime stories I've heard in a long time. Yeah, you, that guy. Especially the well and the black-eyed kids. Those are the two stories I think Dave and the listeners need to hear. And it is the season. Jake?
Oh, so that means you want me to start now, eh?
Absolutely.
Okay. So my first tale comes from my youth. I was about 7 years old, and the Wisconsinites out there will appreciate this. I grew up in south central Wisconsin, if you know Sauk County, just north of Madison. And I was about 7 years old at the time, and the first big winter storm blizzard was heading in. It was about this time, actually, it was about December 20th. And school, we just left on break for the holidays. And, my mom, because the big storm was coming, so that means with those windy roads down the bluffs, this is the driftless area. So it's all sandstone bluffs and hills around there. So my mom, had me and my two older brothers in the green Fairmont, I think, station wagon. You know what I'm talking about, with wood paneling.
Love
packed up the back of it at the Piggly Wiggly, and heading up to the farmhouse on the top of a hill. We're about half a mile off Highway 12, and if you know this is going to be right around Sauk City area. And the car fishtailed, went off the side of the road. A neighbor farmer had to come with the tractor to pull us up, and the snow and the sleet kept building and building and building. So this is the kind of thing where you're going to lose power for 3 days, and there's going to be like 2 feet of snow left or dumped on the ground. So we get in the house. I had a bedroom on the second floor, and right outside the main part of the house we had this big old maple tree and this half collapsed well. So my dad had been knocking it down and filling with dirt because, with 3 kids, boys, right? And a couple of dogs, you need them falling down a well shaft. So, and we had a light pole next to it. So as the night went on and it got darker and the snow kept building up, I don't know, I think it was about 9 at night, I'm looking out my bedroom window, and you can see the light pole and everything. It's flickering. The trees has been coated in ice. And I see these fluffy things start marching towards the house. And what had happened is our neighbors, we called him Mr. Halverson, he had sheep. And with the storm and everything, with the winds, either the barn door got blown open or a fence got knocked down or something. But his herd of sheep started marching on the house. I'm sure, they're looking to get out of it, but big old icy cotton balls is really what they looked like. And they kind of nestled up against the tree. So they're right next to the well. And as the snow kept coming, they kind of moved together to stay warm and everything. But from the well, this long, thin, black, hairy arm with what looked like a hook on the end inched up and it speared one of the sheep next to it. So this little sheep is fallen over on side and it's wiggling and everything, and you can kind of see the blood coming through everything. And then just with like a yank, it got pulled into the well. So I'm like freaking out, and I go and get my brother and my mom and my dad, and there's no way in hell we're gonna go out in the storm for this. And of course they're thinking, okay, it just slipped into the well. No monster grabbed it. That doesn't happen. And then it's about 2 days later, the storm has subsided, right? Clear day, freezing, because everyone knows right after the big storms, the clearest days are the coldest days. And the sheep, Mr. Halverson, Farmer Halverson, he comes, he's got his tractor with him and everything, and we're going to help him try to round up the sheep because they're probably scattered over. It's like a 10-acre area by now. So Mr. Halverson's tractor pulls up, and my dad goes to the well and looks down. So like I said, it's half collapsed, and he's filled it in to a great deal, but still like a good 10, 12-foot drop. So that's like a 3.5 meter drop into the well. And my dad looks over and then looks at Mr. Halverson and tells us, boys, leave, get out of here. And so my dad climbs down the well. It's a rope knot thing tied to the back of the tractor. And he ropes up the sheep and pulls it up. And all you really can see, I'm upstairs with my brothers looking over this, but with the ice and everything, you see like this really bright red kind of with some black split down its belly. And it's got like the red crystals from the ice and the blood. And they quickly throw in the back of a pickup and put a blanket over it. And Mr. Halverson drives off with it. So then I go downstairs and I walk up to my dad and I pull on his coat. Like I'm only like 7 at the time. My dad turns around and looks at me and says, "What did the monster look like?" So that happened when I was 7.
Wow.
The fact that he believed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that neck of the woods with Wisconsin, I would say Wisconsin's more of a cryptid monster state than a ghost state. Like if you live in Milwaukee, Milwaukee's got some good haunts, right? Old big city. But like I grew up with tales of Wendigo. We have mountain lions in Wisconsin. Everyone thinks it's hard to believe that you have like cougars, right? In Wisconsin. Of course, we got the Beast of Bray Road. This was before the Beast of Bray Road. But, I used to spend, after the storm, my brothers and I, we would go in the forest looking for the different monsters. But at the end of the day, my dad said it was a black bear attack. Got one of the sheep. And I'm just like, they would be sleeping. They'd be hibernating by now. And for one thing, this was, a sloth arm. You know how they're kind of long and they've got the curved and that stringy black fur on it. That's what it looked like. And it was just like one that did it. But needless to say, when the spring came, my dad fully filled in, took a sledgehammer to the rest of the well on top and filled it in with dirt and stuff. And that was the end of the well. But I never saw any tracks. And with the snow, you could see some of the blood stripes in the snow, from the layers and stuff when you went looking through it. But yeah. So that's a bit of a true story, I gotta say.
Jake, you're pretty well rounded with cryptids. Like I know you read a lot about cryptids, you write a lot about cryptids. Present day Jake, looking back at that story, what do you think it could have been?
Well, so the whole thing is because I only saw like an arm with the hook. And when I look at Midwest's monsters, there's nothing really quite like that. You know, something with excessively long arms. I wish I would like to, see how big the body was and the head. I mean, you couldn't call it dogman. It was obviously not a dogman because they wouldn't have hands and arms like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. It could just be any kind of monster. I mean, totally believing it's not like a teleporting monster or something like that, right? But it like a physical critter.
How about you, Dave? What do you think it could be?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, I love monsters. You know that. Beast of Bray Road. I mean, you're in Dogman territory. You are in a territory where a lot of high strangeness happens, including moving trees.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think whatever it is, probably connected to the ground and the energy around it.
Hmm.
But that's what I'm
It could have
feeling.
been a burrower, something that burrowed underground too. You know, because we never really found tracks or anything. And with those big
Moment.
arms and claws, you would think it would be able to, I don't know if I would call it like swim through the dirt, but it could probably burrow very
You saw
fast.
Mole Man.
I think Fantastic Four at that.
That's
Now,
good.
Melissa, you being in the Pacific Northwest, your location, you and your family. Well, you're a historian. You are one of, if not the best historian I know of. She leaves no stone unturned, Dave, and she'll give you enough information to make a historic show, not paranormal, and I love it. But you know of a train tragedy that happened, and you're close to you. And did it happen in winter? Because they had to wait for winter to get all the bodies out.
But they had to wait till summer to get the bodies out. So I
That's
think,
what I meant. Yeah.
yeah, I think we're talking about the Wellington disaster. Yeah. So I think that happened in 1910.
Can you tell me what happened with that and the hauntings that happen around there?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know this story really well because it was ingrained into me as a child. If you drive over I-90 now on your way to Spokane, you can look down and see the old tunnel and some of the old, what is now called the Iron Goat Trail, but what used to be the tracks. And so my dad majored in history and was a huge, and still is, a huge railroad nut. And so anytime we'd go over that pass, which was a lot, he would tell every gruesome detail of that avalanche and train derailment story. So I know it pretty well. But it also gave me a healthy fear of heights and trains and bridges and trestles in general. But so it was February of 1910, and two trains had left Spokane on their way to Everett. And it had been snowing pretty decent. Like at some points, they were getting, I think it was like a foot an hour. And the train got to Wellington, which later changes its name to Tye. So you might see the signs for that exit on your drive back and forth. But they're at a complete stop. They can't get through the tunnel. The snow plows can't get through. The snow is just piling up. So they say, okay, well, we could get to the tunnel here, but we don't want to stay in the tunnel because we fear the tunnel will collapse. So let's put you outside the depot here. We've got two trains, a mail train and a passenger train. We're going to put you outside the depot and we're going to wait this out. So meantime, they send in some more plows, and people are getting really nervous. But they think it's safer for the passengers to actually spend the night in the trains every night, because where the hotel was, they deemed it as more of a, I guess, danger for the avalanche that could happen. because this is like built right up against this mountain. There's a big hill right behind them, and they logged it. There'd been, forest fires, so we know what that does to the ground. So every night during these 9 days, they're trapped there, and the snow is piling up. The telegraph goes out. They've got no contact with the outside world. And then by March 1st, now they've been there 9 days. By March 1st, at around midnight, I think it was, it turns to rain. There's a big lightning strike up above them in the mountain, and it breaks loose a 1/4 mile wide swath of snow that comes down and miraculously misses the hotel that they said was in such danger, the general store, the post office, and takes out all of the tracks, all of the cars, the box cars, the engines, the snow plows, and takes them 1,000 feet down that valley, buried in 40 feet of snow. So I think to this day, it may stand as the deadliest avalanche in U.S. history. And I think maybe 26 people survived and were rescued. But the other bodies, some of them they drug out, they were frozen, they drug them out, they tie them up by their feet and basically sled them, just drag them up the 1,000 feet back up to the town. But they had to wait until July to get the rest of the bodies. So I think all in all, it was about 96 people who died.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many are still there?
And they say it's haunted.
Yeah, so you can still find some of the wreckage or pieces of the old, tracks and the old snow shed that they built after the fact. And so, those bodies were there for a while, and it was quite tragic. So that, yeah, there's lots of rumors, and you can access it because it's on a public trail now called the Iron Goat Trail. So you can get there and access it and have experiences. But people have heard people screaming, people talking, a little kid that people have seen, like a young boy. And there were some children who did die in that avalanche.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've heard the stories. Actually, did a podcast on this one. They still have a couple of the old train tunnels because that train route has been moved to a different location now, and it's like an anniversary ghost or haunting type thing. At a certain date and time, you'll hear the trains coming. Now, the tunnels weren't covered by the avalanche, but you can hear the train coming down through the old abandoned tunnel that like half of it's collapsed. It's not far from where the sheds are, I think.
Yeah.
But you will feel it shake, hear the train, you'll hear a rumble of it's probably the avalanche. I think that's probably hyperbole, but you'll probably hear the train coming through the old tunnel.
And then what's fun is, I live in Everett, Washington. And so we have a cemetery here. It's the oldest cemetery in Everett called Evergreen Cemetery. And it's home to the famous Wrecker Tomb. Quite a few movies have been shot there. But some of the Wellington disaster victims, one of them they're buried there. And one of them was the conductor of the mail train, I think it is. And he is buried with a view of the mountains there with his feet facing right towards the disaster.
Wow.
That's incredible. That's just incredible. And yet we all sit here and wonder, with our minds now blown away by that story, we all sit here and wonder, where can I find a place like that? Is there more places like that? And I look at it, I'm like, damn it, I would like to meet this guy. I'd like to see what he's all about there.
Yeah. Like I think we had a train avalanche. Was that not?
Actually, 3 days after the Wellington disaster, there was one up in BC where 64 people were killed.
What?
But off of an avalanche that took out a train. It was just 3 days after Wellington from the same storm, I think.
That was
think it
the
was-
one I was just trying to think of the name of. I'm Googling
Was
it
it
while we talk.
Rogers Pass or something?
Yeah, Rogers Pass. That's the one.
Sorry, I don't know my BC history as well.
No, you're right. You had it quicker than I did. So
Yeah, but 64 people from the same storm.
Mhm.
damn.
Do you ever notice that there are a lot of deaths surrounding Mother Nature? I mean, we don't get those, up in the West Coast here. We don't get the tornadoes, or we don't get the typhoons or anything along those lines. It seems to be pretty calm around here. But in years past, we do get a lot of avalanches, whether it's mountains collapsing, like the ones you guys just mentioned, or Mount St. Helens.
Mhm.
Okay. Volcanoes don't erupt every year or every decade,
Hmm.
even though we are in Volcano Alley.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is kind of weird that way.
Yeah, well, as a Midwesterner, I think I know more about the maritime disasters from like November's on the Great Lakes. November's the worst month, and plenty of ships have gone down. And so, I grew up with tales on Lake Superior, like the Bannockburn, and I know more maritime disasters out here. Melissa, we've had mudslides quite a bit. What was it? What was that town
Oso.
that started with the O?
Oso.
Yeah.
So
Oh, sorry, Oso.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I-
that was devastating.
Mm-hmm. But I haven't heard anything about hauntings for it.
I have heard a little, but it's still so impactful to that community.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people want to talk too much about it yet, because it's still too new.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's so you have to to get from Arlington to Darrington there, it's a very well traveled road. Lots of loggers and stuff go take that road. You can't miss it, and you can't miss the devastation in the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a sense of not wanting to be disrespectful.
Mhm.
So I think some of that is kept a little hush
Yeah.
right now because they don't want to encourage it.
Yeah. I mean, we've also had the plague of the forest fires too.
Oh,
And that's
God,
very,
yeah.
very recent. And I don't think like I wouldn't ghost hunt in any of those
Mm-mm.
No.
towns.
No.
Let's get back to the Christmas theme here. So we got
Okay.
about a minute to go here. Have any of you ever had paranormal activity on Christmas?
Not on Christmas itself, right before and right after, but not on Christmas Day itself.
How about you, Merle?
No, I was just racking my brain on that. I for whatever reason, Christmas kind of, I don't know why, but it kind of creeps me out in a sense, just because it's quiet, like the quiet nights of like the snow and that. I think winter creeps me out, to be honest. But no, I haven't, man. You?
How about you, Melissa?
No, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think so. But I think there's so much activity when you have kids and family over and lots of noise and lots of energy. I think that you're bound to miss if signs or things are happening. I think it's easier to overlook with a little rum punch in your hand and lots of activity, then you might be tuned to on other.
Well, on that note, we got paranormal road trippers Merle, Jacob Rice, Melissa Becker on for another hour here on the final episode of Ghosts of Great White North for 2023. Our main man Merle and friends return right after this.
I'll be right back. I gotta go take care of Mikey.
Me too. I'm gonna go take care of Mikey.
Give Mikey
Yeah, I'd like to check out the Wellington accident site.
Yeah, there's Monte Cristo. There's all kinds of stuff, you know.
I love Washington. I could go there every day. I guess I'll be seeing you guys soon, January.
Yeah. My birthday. My birthday's coming up.
We're going to Fort Worden.
Yes. I'm going to stay in the murder castle.
Awesome. Love a good murder castle, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not really a castle. They call it Alexander's Castle, but
Right.
I don't know if you can still access that boiler room, but it's a good story.
There we go. We'll uncover stories.
Oh, I already got them all uncovered. I'm ready to go.
Got the binder? The binder's ready?
I'm trying to tone it down.
No, don't. We like it.
I'm toning it down. I'm trying to get more high-level bullet points.
I tell my coworkers when they want to tell me like big stories or like case files, they shudder when I say I just want the Cole's notes. I don't know if you have Cole's notes down there. It's just like summary.
Yeah, we have something similar. What are they called? What was the yellow Cliff Notes? They were called Cliff Notes here.
Jake, did you see the camera?
Oh yeah, right before we cut to the intro. Yeah, let me see that bad boy.
Hey, I'm gonna be right back, you guys.
Oh, you got a cage on there. You got a rig up on that too.
All rigged.
Is that the GH5 you got there?
That's the GH5, yeah.
Nice. I got for the iPhone 15. I got a cage for it too, so I can move. I'll be right back. Mikey's having a fit. I got a grumpy old man pit bull here. I'll be right back.
He's not a grumpy old man. He's curmudgeon.
Then there was one.
Hold on.
I guess this is the Merle show now.
It's the Merle show. I'm on camera. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, what haunted objects can we show everyone? What do we got? What do we got within our grasp? Ooh, my new one. There we go. So this is, who's ever watching on the old YouTubes, a Victorian tintype photo, but it's a death portrait. I don't know if you can see him. It's on our Instagram, Paranormal Road Trippers on Instagram. I have a better photo on it. He's dead. And it was very common to do post-mortem photos back in those days, where you would have one last photo with your loved one and for, I guess, a keepsake. So this is original. It's made of tin. And why do I have this stuff? I don't know. I like the collection. I like the morbid and macabre because we have another one too. This is of a little boy. This is also on Instagram for a better look. His eyes are basically pried open. And with the Victorian type photos, since it takes so long to do the exposure in the actual photo, oftentimes their eyes are blurry. And when they're dead or it's post-mortem, you see the normal eye, like in this one. See, Dave? I know Dave doesn't have his headphones on yet. Dave, we're showing some Victorian post-mortem photos.
Nice.
The guy in this one, he's dead.
Hard to see.
Here, Merle, hold on. There you go. Post it in.
There, you can see better on our Instagram. He's propped up.
That's an authentic one, right? Because there's a lot of fake ones out there.
Yeah, this one's authentic. This one actually, I got shipped to me from Missouri.
You're a Missouri kind of guy.
Yeah, I am.
Look, it's little Jakey Rice there.
I had to go I had a pit bull emergency I had to take care of.
Is he okay?
No, he was just like, I want a cookie, I want water, let me outside, and put me up on the bed. That's pretty much how it went.
Okay.
Nice. We got just over a minute here, guys. And High Cliffs Eye. Look at Aussie Ange there merling away down in Australia. Yep, she likes a good solid merle down there. When she's pumping the iron with her hubby, she's like, Merle!
Merle.
Merle!
Kira was in here. We had the Cryptid Huntress. She was in here. The gang was all here, Dave.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yeah, we want to remind everybody, you can join Merle, myself, many others. We're going to get Jake down there. Melissa, if you want to come to the 3rd annual SOR fan party in Reno, Nevada, May 10th through 12th, 2024. We are going to have a great weekend. You get a free radio show that you all sit in. We're going to interview a bunch of special guests who are going to be coming on in, like Merle and Jim Goodall. And somebody's mic keeps chirping. Every time they move. Anyways, it's at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno. Get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com. They're going to be coming out in January. Here we go with the next hour, everybody.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live at KPNL. All of our archives are free. You can join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Xanthocomic. Xanthocomic is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on Patreon and the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, second hour of Ghosts of the Great White North. It is the return of Merle, the final appearance of 2023. We are also joined by Jake Rice and Melissa Becker, talking hauntings, ghosts, and everything in between. I want to talk technology here because Merle really introduced me to a lot of really cool stuff when we were shooting in the forest over in the summertime. And the technology seems to really have changed this year, Merle, with a lot of gear that you were using and a lot of equipment that you changed up. Are we getting closer to getting a lot of this gear going where it's becoming a little bit more, how can I put it, easy to tell if there's a ghost or spirit around?
I think so. I think a lot of the new gear is very sensitive. Jake and I like to say it's a gotcha ghost. So yeah, a lot of the, or insta ghost, we call it an
Insta ghost. Yeah.
Jake and I talk a lot about gear. We've talked a lot about gear. He's the guy who he buys anything and everything, uses it. We field test it, and he does reviews on gear. And he'd be the man to ask about. How do you feel about the gear this year? Because you have bought a lot, and there's been a lot of new toys that have come out.
Yeah. So I have recently added to the arsenal. So when we do our first big ghost hunt in January, I'll be bringing the new gadgets. Do I think they're more accurate and better at detecting a ghost? No. Do I think they're now so sensitive that you're definitely going to get a ghostly thrill? Yeah. In a nutshell, I'm kind of abandoning a lot of the visual type recording stuff simply because, and this is the stuff like the SLS. And I'm moving more to environmental factors because I want something objective. You can objectively measure the environment before I lose everyone and they fall asleep. I'm not necessarily going to go with what a spirit box says because your brain can invent the words. But humidity is humidity, pressure is pressure, static electricity, and ions. You know, when something starts to happen and we see, let's take the Envoy ghost box, right? Because it's got a touch to go off. You know, when something like that starts happening, I want to see what happens with the environment to see is there something more objective, something you can measure accurately. How does it change when that phenomena starts? And so that's going to be my approach for the next year. So I would say I'm getting rid of a lot of the fancier gadgets to focus more on, I don't know, basic science. Would you count that as basic science? You can roast me in the comments if you want on that.
Basically, like I like the tripwire, Dave. I know you really like the tripwire too. Basically, the paranormal tripwire looks like Christmas lights, but each light is an EMF detector, and it trips when obviously it detects EMF and the intensity of the EMF. I like that, and then pair that with like a proximity sensor, like the EDI plus, where you're measuring vibration, temperature, and everything. So if the tripwire goes off and your proximity sensor perks up too, then you're like, oh dang, maybe we got something.
Yeah, I mean, I would do the tracer wire more than the tripwire, simply because when it comes to EMF, it's really easy to trigger that stuff. I think it's a bit harder to do something using infrared.
Yep.
Like Bailey House, when we caught the footsteps walking down the hall, that was
cool.
the tracer wire.
Yes.
The importance of having good equipment compared to amateur, what you guys would consider amateur equipment, that basically what we can afford, the regular public can afford. Okay. Is it something that, what's the difference, I should ask? You know, because the majority of people out there are not going to go spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on equipment. They are going to see what they can afford, you know, because they aren't doing this full time like you guys are. They're more thrill seekers than they are searching for paranormal answers like many of you are. I mean, how do we kind of find the difference between, you know, having good results and having proper equipment?
Who do you want to take this
Jake,
one?
let's start with you on that.
So I think the big thing is just the degree of how accurately it can measure the phenomena. So like you got a K2, right? I mean, you can think of it as kind of an on-off switch. It goes off, you know, there's a change in electromagnetic field. Like for me, I would want to get down to the 100th of a milligauss, something like that. So it's a lot of, it's just how accurate the measurement is. And some of it is just because when it comes to the cost for this stuff, it's just because it's such a niche product. That's why it costs so much. And when it comes to getting the parts and everything like that, I mean, if you're just a regular ghost hunter, you can use your phone. You can use apps if you want. I would say there's certain apps you want to use. So I'm actually okay with was it GhostTube? Not the SLS version, but the regular one. Because there doesn't seem to be any kind of...
Who are you?
I know, right? I'm not using GhostTube, by the way. I'm just saying, but if you want to use one, that one gives you a lot of different measurement field, but still it's on your phone. But speaking of phones, your phone is a great place to start, because really all you need to do is record video and audio. That's the big stuff. Just start with that. But learn how to listen to it and maybe clean up the audio and everything, because it's important to present your evidence. But beyond that, really, it's just, you know, the cost to make the gadget. I would say none of them are super accurate by any means because they're so sensitive. And if you're going to use some of the less expensive stuff, don't count on one gadget to go off. Count on like 2 or 3 of them to go off. So if you got a K2, fine. It starts blinking. You got audio going on your phone. Listen to that for the ghostly voice. Have the camera going just to see if you capture something moving as well. And if you get like 3 things all happening at the same time, you might have something.
Mhm.
And you didn't use expensive gear to capture that. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
Melissa, how do you feel about the technology?
I would say, yeah, you don't need to invest a ton of money, but it's that validation. And I would say you can set out all the equipment that you want and you'll run an experiment and maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't. What I have found is in those moments that you aren't running an experiment. You might just be having a casual conversation with your other partner investigators, and all of a sudden some equipment starts going off. You go back and check your camera and your audio, and there's a full sentence EVP waiting for you right at that moment. And you have that validation. But if you're stopping your recording, you're not capturing. You're missing those opportunities to get some of those, EVPs or video footage. So some of the best EVPs I've gotten, I just got off my body camera because it was running 24/7. It didn't stop when I stopped the experiment. And it's $150 body camera. And it's probably produced some of the best evidence for me.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. I mean, how you address it is how you feel you're going to pick up your spiritual activity or your haunted activity. And I can appreciate that. For people out there who are amateur though, what's the setup? If they're looking to shop this Christmas for ghost gear, what's a great amateur setup, Jake?
Oh, geez. If I were going to do that, I would say you want to get something really good at capturing audio. And in this case, there's this Sony handheld recorder. It's like $30 US. That's a good one. Again, like I said, it's probably going to be just as good as your phone. So use voice memo on your phone before you acquire that. I would get something that measures the environment. So like a MERLE meter, that costs about $100. And that'll give you the accuracy with temperature and with how strong the EMF field is. And then if you really want to splurge, you could get, I think Canon makes these little handheld cameras that are like $200. But like I said, it's going to be no better than the camera on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the side of phone and something that measures the environmental area like temperature, EMF. Start with that. And, if you got a trigger object, we call them, maybe something from the period of the ghost you're researching. And Melissa can tell you all about the importance of this. You got an old coin they might recognize. Maybe they were alive in 1910. You can go to Spotify, right? You can stream songs from that time period to see if anything happens with the gadgets. Start there. Do that.
I think that's smart. Why is temperature important?
Well, we have some theories about when a ghost manifests. It deals with energy. In my experience, it gets colder. And there's some talk about, heat is energy. So when the ghost manifests, it uses the ambient temperature as part of it to help it manifest. But I've also had experiences less often where the temperature has gone up. And just so you know, folks, these aren't changes of like half a degree. It's usually a 5-degree shift or more, and it's pretty sudden. You still have to debunk, right? A window could have opened, the heat could have come on, something like that. So you want to rule out those causes for the temperature changes. So that's why measuring temperature is important.
I never knew that. I knew of, temperature changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I didn't realize the level of importance with it.
Yeah. One of the other things you got to watch out for is, especially when it comes to a warming trend, just by you and having your team in a room, the temperature is going to go up like a couple of degrees in a short period. That's why it's like, start about 5 degrees. And it's pretty rapid. And when I say rapid, that's anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes you get the change.
Yeah. Melissa, have you found the same thing?
Yeah, so you can see these like little temperature changes, but once you kind of get that, like Jake was mentioning, you get a bunch of people in a room, and your body temperatures are you're going to raise that up. But once you get to that point where it's kind of settled out, if there's a sudden drop, which we've felt, and you can measure, that's like, that's a multiple degree drop all at once. Verify there's no AC going on, nobody opened a door. And then if you can validate that with additional evidence that happened at that time, that's exciting stuff in my world.
Right. Absolutely. And what about, you talked a little bit about cameras. Cameras can get real expensive, Jake.
Mhm.
Okay. And, what kind of camera should somebody use? Most people are carrying their phone.
Yeah.
They're not going out to buy a GoPro, or
Mhm.
they're not going out to buy an expensive camera, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the biggest, I would say, myths is you have to have infrared and you have to have ultraviolet light. That's not the case. Why? Because most people witness ghosts with their own 2 eyes. These are not infrared. These are not ultraviolet. So I would say, when you're first starting out and you don't have an experiment that would require seeing in the dark, no one said you ever had to turn off the lights, people. You don't have to turn off the lights. That's just for shows. Just use your camera, and standard visible light works just fine and dandy. When people see shadow figures in their rooms and everything, they're not looking through infrared for this. So start with your normal light. Start with your camera. If you've got an iPhone, anything over. I mean, those cameras got pretty good with, what was the iPhone X? I've got an 11 right now. They take great video. You just go ahead and use it.
Yeah, I can see that. And the purpose of it, for those who may not understand, is what? What are we looking for on camera?
Well, ideally, I mean, apparitions are pretty rare. I gotta say, when you see what looks like a person, usually it's going to be a shadowy type figure. I wouldn't say orbs in the classical sense. A lot of people, where it's kind of transparent and you can see the little dots in it and everything. That's usually going to be the bug type thing, or it's going to be a dust type thing. You're going to look for a solid light ball. You can't see through it. It looks like a star, essentially. And it's not moving erratically or anything like that. That would be a bug. It's going to have a smooth motion, usually linear, a straight line, not really zigzagging whatsoever. And that's the type of thing. And that's usually what you capture on ghost hunts, is a shadowy figure. Sometimes you can see the outline of a semi-transparent person, but you got to be careful about that. That could be pareidolia. That could be any reflection. So this is why debunking is so important. Anytime you're around shiny appliances or windows, your chances of pareidolia shoot right up, and you're just filming yourself or someone on your team. So I would say, if it's a wall, great, perfect place for it.
How about you, Melissa? What's the best evidence you've caught on camera?
On camera, I think it's not any specter or ghost or mist. Although we did have at the prison, the old prison in Montana, there was this. It's like a light blue light that was moving around and almost interacting with us, and going in patterns and into places. And we tried everything to debunk it, but it was going into places where light should not have been reflecting in the pattern that it was traveling. So we caught a little bit of that on camera. It didn't come out quite as vivid as when we were in person, but I think other than that, some things, you capture something in the background, like that door just opened on its own.
Mhm.
Or and it's things that you didn't really notice in the moment. You were too busy in the investigation or asking questions. And when you play back your stuff and you're going, did someone open that door? How did that door open? So it's more than just trying to capture this ghostly spirit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is
For
it
sure.
about the communication too?
Yeah, I was going to say you can go in with $10 billion worth of evidence, but to me, of course, the historian on the team, I'm biased. If you don't know what kind of conversation to have with spirits who might be there, why are you there? Your goal is to connect and to communicate with them. And if I were to meet you, Dave, for the first time, I'd probably ask you some questions to get to know you. Or I might, if I'm a radio show host, I might do some research on my guests so I know what questions to ask them. I would recommend always doing some research and not just going with the urban legends that tend to be out there. Oh, it's haunted by Mary, who, her lover, she thought he died in the war, so she threw herself out the window. There's that story at every hotel in every town across America. But when you do the history, you'll find out there's probably a lot more interesting people and a lot other sad and tragic stories of people who could be matching the description of the haunting they're having. And you can have a much better conversation and investigation if you just do a little research.
The importance of learning the heritage and the history of a building. For either of you, what would that be? What's the purpose of it?
It's huge because those stories get lost in time and they get replaced with these urban legends or stories. There's a house in Spokane called the Campbell House. It's a beautiful English Tudor, and everyone believes that these 4 kids were killed in the 20s there, or 3 kids were killed and one was kidnapped and never returned. That story is widely believed to be true. It is not true. So part of that heritage, that whole family, their whole family history, this long, beautiful history of this family is tarnished by this urban legend. So I think telling those stories of how they came there, the real story is this guy made a mint in mining in Butte and Wallace, Idaho, and came there and started up a bunch of industries. There's a whole wonderful story about that family, but it's mired in with these urban legends. So for me, trying to tell the truth of what happened somewhere is much more important. And I think there still could be hauntings there. It's just not from a murder kidnapping.
Jake, what do we have to do to get more, how can I put it? To get more action from ghosts where we see more full body apparitions rather than shadows. We got about a minute to go.
Yeah. So I think it's so rare. We talk about you having a lot of energy that helps a ghost manifest. Not every ghost is going to be able to be full bodied. You might just get a shadow figure, and that's all that spirit's going to be able to do. So I wouldn't get hung up on trying to get more fully developed, say, apparitions. I would just say make sure you've got the gear with you to get a little bit of evidence from every type, like from audio to engagement, something moving to video, and that's probably solid enough to prove the case of a haunting.
And on that note, we are going to say, hold on right there, because we have Ghosts of the Great White North for another half an hour here on Spaced Out Radio, led by our main man, Merle.
I'm back.
Christmas Merling from him to all of you. And Melissa Becker is here, along with Jacob Rice. We'll get into more paranormal stories when we return on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We will be right back. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear.
What I miss? My internet absolutely died.
You
I'm on
missed
my
my
phone.
about urban legends.
Dang, I'm on my phone now.
So nice. Cheers to that.
Yep. You know, Dave, that's the first time since 2015 I had a internet drama.
Yeah, that's weird.
Your audio
Yeah,
sounds a little tinny in and
Yeah.
out now too.
rolling on my iPhone. While we're on break here, I'm just going to restart my computer. I just wanted to be on.
Yeah, it had everything to do with the fact that you didn't invite me to Bailey House.
You have been invited multiple times, young man.
Once.
I don't
Wait.
know. I'm sensing there may have been, maybe a curse is being cast upon you there, Merle.
Well,
True.
let's just see something. Okay. The day before he leaves. Yeah, we're investigating the Bailey House. Why don't you come join us? How do I get time off work to do that on such short notice?
Got a short notice invite. I didn't get one at all.
What about me?
Mhm.
Really?
What?
He didn't invite you? I thought you did.
He never invites me.
Are we being TMZ again?
No.
I could have swore we invited you, Melissa.
To Bailey?
Actually, we did invite Melissa on the last one. Jake?
Not Dave.
To Bailey House? I wasn't invited to Bailey House.
I thought you did all the I mean, because you did research on. Did you do research on her?
To Bailey House.
You
Mm-mm.
didn't?
Mm-mm. No,
Oh.
they got that all nice and neat and tidy. There was no need for me to come in.
That's
and
true. That's true. They that pamphlet was pretty good, I gotta say.
There was nothing to like peel back the layers of the onion and expose the truth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I gotta say though, this is a case with the Bailey House. It was such like a loved house, and it like there's nothing tragic there. It was just people loved that house, and they're sticking around.
I think
kid.
that ever since they did paint over the thing, I think there's been a little anger there, but I don't think it's anything bad per se.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you had the crazy stuff happen to you. I mean, I was just sitting there like la-di-dee, la-di-da, la-di-da. However, those EVPs were wicked.
Yes.
Those EVPs were wicked.
We gotta have little Davy Scott out on some investigations this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
So where are we going to bring him? Are we go back to Alexandra Lodge? Isn't that heading your way?
That's useless.
Okay.
Well, why don't we? If you've been down to Concrete, you don't mind coming out to Washington, do you? Can
It's
you come
hard.
to Washington and
It's
visit? Bring
It's
the
hard.
whole family.
No, if I'm taking the family to the States, it's either Disneyland or Vegas. Yeah, honey, we're going to America for holidays. Where are we going? Concrete, Washington.
State of Concrete, but when you the Reno thing, are you building in any investigations, or are you just going down for the radio thing and head back out?
What it is it's a weekend of getting together with our fans. It's all about our fans. It has nothing to do with us. Merle is attempting to try and set up a ghost tour for Virginia City. If that doesn't work, we'll find someplace else to do that. Hi, Stevie Franchise. How you doing? Lost Souls. How you doing? And give me 2 seconds here. Big thank you tonight. Big thanks to T-Bone ×2, W. Decker, Forrest Louis ×2, Lori. Actually, make that Forrest Louis, ×2. Phil, Jake, Major Lee in the UK. Thank you for the love, everybody. Make that Louis with 3. All right. But yeah, back to Reno. It's all about the fans. It's not about us. It's not about investigation. It's not about a conference. It's all about the fans and what they want to do. And like I said, I think the key is They get the free radio show. They get the VIP party with all of us. They get Merle. If they want to go on the investigation with Merle, they can do that. If they want to skip that and go to the UFO Skywatch that night, they can do that too. It's all about the fans, what they want to do with us. So we try and keep it all about them.
That's beautiful. Love it.
Are there
A lot of-
Sasquatch sightings over on the Tahoe side?
Yeah, there's a lot of Sasquatch in that area. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Paranormal stories tonight on the final episode of Ghost of the Great White North here on Spaced Out Radio. Our main man Merle hanging on out. Now, Merle, take it away.
Well, how do I sound, Dave? This is from my phone. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, we're on radio, bud. You're sounding great.
Excellent. So, in light of Christmas, what's your favorite Christmas character, scary-wise? Start with you, Jake.
Hans Trapp.
Who? Tell us about him.
Hans Trapp. So I think this one's out of Austria, but ostracized guy if I could talk, goes out into the woods, kind of dresses as a scarecrow, likes to eat children. A lightning bolt strikes him. God sends down the lightning bolt, fries him. I think there's some mixing with other Germanic legends with Hans Trapp, but Saint Nick, I believe, gets him reincarnated to follow him around to help with whipping bad children. So there's a few of these guys like this. Like there's, I think, Black Peter or something similar, and I forgot there's another German guy name, but like Hans Trapp, he's like the original child cannibal hunter in the woods, scare the kids that get lost from their parents, and if you misbehave, that's your guy that doles out the punishment.
I like Frau Perchta. She so Dave, do you know who Frau Perchta is? She if you weren't a good boy, or if you were the female of the house back in the day and didn't keep a nice house clean during the holiday seasons, she would literally come in your house and basically gut you and then fill you with straw and leave you like that. Now, all of these European, maybe that's why European kids are so well behaved, because all of these stories bring fear into people. Like you got Krampus. If you're a bad kid, you get thrown in a sack. You got Frau Perchta, and here we have Santa Claus and Frosty.
But don't forget, you also got the Bumble, and a Bumble's bounce.
But I really like the holiday lore. I find it creepy. One of my favorite holiday festive movies is Krampus. Gotta love it. Those little gingerbread men, you know.
Yeah.
You
just had Jeff Belanger on too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So he nailed all the characters. What was that, Monday night?
Oh, just the other night.
Yeah. I have his book. So the Fright Before Christmas or something like that.
Fright Before Christmas.
Yeah. I got that.
Me too.
But I mean, I think for me, the whole aspect of Christmas is kind of haunting in a way.
Yeah.
From from the music to how it's torturous, like anything Mariah Carey or is absolutely deadly. It really is. And no, but and I'm having fun in jest with that. But if you think about it biblically speaking, it's a very haunted time. Okay, from an angel showing up or a spirit showing up above the three wise men, telling them where to go, to um to the birth of Jesus, if that's the way you want to look at it. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of paranormal activity that surrounds the entire holiday. And then on a personal level, if you make it personal, if like this will be my first Christmas without my mother.
Mhm.
And I am kind of excited to see, okay, what's gonna happen? Okay, is something going to happen? Because I know my mother is still in the home with my father. I know that. But what is old Phil going to do from the other side to try and stir things up? Like is she going to like move the socks? Is she going to drop an ornament from the tree? Like what's going to happen? That's what I look forward to.
Yeah, the first year Christmas I had without my mom, you could really feel her around because that was her time to shine. I was never allowed to touch the Christmas tree when she was
Nope,
putting it
me
up.
either.
Oh, that
It'd
would
be
be
it'd be
really
David,
strange.
get your hands off the tree. You know better. You're 42 years old.
But then they would tell everyone you helped put it up. Oh, this is where all my trauma comes in. No, I'm kidding.
Uh,
But yeah,
yeah.
no, like a lot of my fondest memories of Christmas are like with my parents. Like the night before, the neighbors would come over and all that. But it all changed like when my mom passed away. But because I like what you're going through, Dave. But like you bring up a lot of new traditions or a lot of like me making pierogies today. That was my mom's thing at Christmas. I'm sure this year or next year, you or the other half will make those chocolate balls you were talking about and keep that going.
Yeah, you gotta figure out something, man. Gotta figure out something. Gotta find the caramel. You know how hard it is to find caramel these days? It's difficult up here.
You can make
Difficult.
your own, Dave. I'll send you
Yeah.
some recipes.
Mmm. Yes, I just gained 6 pounds thinking about that. Thank you.
How about you, Dave? What is the creepiest Christmas character for you? Like we talked a bit about Krampus and Frau Perchta and Hans Trapp. Which one does it for you?
I would say it was the three ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future.
Mm.
Charles Dickens, you know, story there. And I think when I was a kid, there was a black and white version of that. And when it came to Christmas Future, where literally the guy gets taken to hell, okay, that scared the daylights out of me. Absolutely scared the daylights out of me. But as I told the audience with Jeff Belanger the other night, I used the Canadian version of his last name. Okay. Um, One of the things that happened to me as a kid was I remember it distinctly. I was about 5 years old, and I could hear it was Christmas Eve, and my parents had a bunch of friends over for Christmas Eve, and it was only about 9:30. Like, ooh, I'm staying up late at 9:30, but I've always had troubles going to sleep at night ever since I was a kid. And long story short, on this particular Christmas Eve, I to this day, 45 years later, I still swear that I saw Rudolph's nose flying through the sky.
Ooh.
Rudolph's a cryptid.
And and I got scared, and I started to panic because here I saw this red orb flying through the sky. Well, on Christmas Eve at 5 years old, that only means one thing, that Santa is in your area. And, thinking that Santa Claus may know that I'm awake, that I quickly jumped back into my bed, and I pulled the covers up tight to my face and was just, come on, sleep, come on, sleep, trying to force myself to sleep because I didn't want Santa to know that I was awake, and therefore I wouldn't get any presents. He'd fly right by. Right. And I remember that. Like, I can't remember the gift that I got, but like to this day, what was that red thing? Was it an airplane with its red light on? Was it a red orb UFO? Was it Rudolph himself? I don't know. But that's one of my weirdest Christmas stories from when I was 5.
Wow. The movie Scrooge scared the crap out of me growing up. The one with Bill Murray when I was little, when all those ghosts came out, that was it. I couldn't go to bed, man. Especially the like the one that looked rotten.
The Bill Murray version scared you. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I think Santa himself is pretty creepy because, it's pretty voyeuristic. And then, Jake, as you were mentioning the little necromancy with Saint Nick there, he has other stories of performing, bringing kids back from the dead. I think it's kids that were baked or boiled or something.
Soup. They became soup. They were in the stew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all of those stories around Santa and Saint Nick and just the theories around them alone are pretty disturbing.
No, there are some disturbing stories that do go around, and how do you deal with them? Like, do the hauntings slow down during those times where there is more festive, positive energy?
Oh, we could answer this a couple ways. In my experience, I would say ghosts like a good rockin' and rollin' festive time. The problem is you don't notice them.
Yep.
I mean, even if you're dead, Christmas time, the Christmas party, all that good stuff. I mean, that's life. You may not be alive anymore, but it makes you feel alive for a little bit. I just don't think you'd notice it.
No, I agree.
For me, a week ago tonight, it was the 13th or 12th anniversary of me seeing the angel of death in my mother's eyes and channeling the angel of death 2 hours later when I knew nothing of this field. Nothing. And that was probably an eye-opener for me. Well, obviously it was. Look what I do now. Right? But that was a real eye-opener for me. And, but it, on the flip side, opened me up to meeting some pretty amazing people. That's for sure. Except for Merle.
Yeah.
You better invite him on a ghost hunt, man.
I'll try. Hey, Dave, I'll try again. See if you're available.
You can do that. Just don't call me the day before. All right. We do have time winding down. We have about 10 minutes left here. Looking, and we started the show off with this, kind of looking back at 2023 is your top haunting of that year. Melissa, we're going to start with you. For what's most memorable in the paranormal for you in 2023? It may not even be one of your own investigations. Maybe something you saw on television or a conference or whatever. What was your most memorable this year?
Actually, the algorithms of the social media have put a few different things into my view. Um, and so there's a lot more interest on my part in learning more about some of the mediums and spiritual work going on. So I think that's been coming my way, and I've been interested in some of the psychic and medium field, and a lot not big well-known names or anything like that. um, so I think that's kind of coming into my path of interest right now, I'd say.
Right on. How about you, Jake?
Well, I would say this year was especially eye-opening for me. I love my ghost hunting TV shows. Was the culling of the paranormal TV show, like Discovery Plus, and when you're a rabid ghost hunting show person, and the show started to dry up and get canceled, probably my favorite discovery would be how wonderful the paranormal community is on YouTube. Even the debunkers, I gotta say, I love me some Parble and Beardo and Mr. Gray. I like to watch the debunk shows, but there's a lot of really good ghost hunting type content. I usually watch the Ouija Brothers, for example, because if they don't get anything, they're not going to BS you. It's like, we didn't get anything. And then the entertainment side of it all with, say, Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo and Ghost Theory and, Sam and Colby, which not my favorite, but they get into good places. So for me, that was like my biggest discovery, was how big and wonderful paranormal is on YouTube.
Yeah, that is a good topic, though, about how much controversy there was about the amount of shows that were canceled, not only this year but the last couple of years.
Mhm.
From the ever popular Holzer Files to a change in Dead Files and Psychics,
Yeah.
to Destination Fear being
Project Fear, yeah.
canceled, or
Mhm.
Project whatever it was.
That was
Okay.
surprising. That was surprising.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I thought it couldn't happen to a nicer person. Let me tell you a little story about Dakota-lated.
Oh,
Here's some
okay.
drama
Okay.
for you.
Oh, do we have
TMZ, TMZ, TMZ.
Do we have a boss alert? I gotta get a drink for
I
this.
do have
Yeah.
gossip. So 2 to 3 months prior to him getting picked up, his show getting picked up, he was calling me, messaging me, emailing me to come on Spaced Out Radio. Wanted to do the show. So we set a date about a month, 6 weeks in advance. The night of the show happened to be like the day or two after they got picked up.
Mm.
And all of a sudden I get a phone call from his agent saying, yeah, Dakota can only do 10 minutes tonight because he's, that's all we've allotted him for. And I said, no, he agreed 6 weeks ago to do 2 hours. So we're going to hold him to those 2 hours. He's my guest, and I work hard on bookings. This is before I had my booking team. And she goes, okay, how about can we compromise at 20 minutes? No. Did you not hear what I said? I got 2 hours to fill. How do I fill the remaining time? So I got her up to 30 minutes. And I said, well, how come weeks ago Dakota could do 2 hours, not a problem, but all of a sudden he's picked up and has as an agent, and now it's cut right down? Well, he has a red eye he needs to catch tonight. I said, no, he doesn't. You'd have mentioned that in your first email that you sent out, that he has a red eye to catch, and could we cut the time down? I said, any good agent would do that, so obviously you're not a good agent, right? And she goes, well, what about an hour? Can we do an hour? I said, what do I do for my hour 2? Who do I call on there? And I said, you know what? I said, I see what's happened here. I said, since he's got picked up 48 hours ago, all of a sudden the ego is shot through the roof. And now what you consider a piddly podcast, even though we're not a podcast, we're a live radio show on real radio stations. You're going to treat me the same as you would everybody else. And now your client is better than everybody else because he just got picked up. And I said, ma'am, I've worked with millionaires and billionaires way more popular than Dakota Layden. And I said, I have a great answer for you. I know what we can do. I said, we're going to cancel Dakota Layden and put him on our ban list so he will never be on Spaced Out Radio ever, no matter how big his show is. And she goes, well, you don't have to be that way. I said, oh, no, I do. I absolutely have to, because you're doing it to me. So I have to show you that my show is more important to me than your client. So therefore, we are not going to play the game. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll find another guest. And that's what happened.
Dang.
Wow.
And every time we check our band list, there's Dakota Layden's name. Yeah. From begging to coming on this show to, I only got 10 minutes for you within 6 weeks.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But who got the last laugh, Dave?
Oh, when they got cut, I thought it was great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't wish misfortune on anybody. This is hard. Yeah. What we do is hard. Okay. But if you're not going to respect the others who helped you get there, I have no sympathy for you.
Fully agree.
Sorry. If you all of a sudden, because your name goes on a contract where in that first year you're going to make a whopping $1,800 or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you are Mr. Somebody because you sign an autograph for a lady who's, all hipster up into the paranormal world, big deal. Big deal. Don't eat it.
No, that's a good story, Dave. I know you told me about him being on the no-fly list, but you never told me the story. I'm happy to hear that. That was good.
Yeah. Going from being begged to come on the show to being snubbed in 6 weeks.
Funny how that is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And to give you an example, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else out there, but tonight I did a show with the Three Beards podcast. Really good guys. They got a small YouTube channel. I don't even think they have 500 members or whatever, but they wanted to chat with me. And I said, what time's your show start? They said 5 Pacific. I said, guys, honestly, I'm going to be late because I get off work at 5, my daytime job. And they're like, can you come on after? I said, sure. 5:30 to 7 Pacific. I was on their channel, just shooting the breeze about all these topics. And you know what? Made them happy.
Awesome.
Made them happy. But that's what it's about. I could have said no. I'm too tired, or who are you? Any standard answer out there. But didn't. Did the show. Because I committed to it. Melissa Becker, Jake Rice, and All I Want for Christmas is Merle. Thank you guys for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight for Ghosts of the Great White North. Very much. Love you all. Love you all. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And we'll get together somewhere at the Bailey House in the new year.
Wow. We will do that.
Wow.
Thanks again, Dave.
Coming up next to kick off hour number 3, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. Then Sweet Robbie G filling in for the extremely tired Courtney Marcassani on the UFO Report. We'll be right back. All right, we're done.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Always
Thanks,
appreciate when you
Dave.
have us on.
Oh yeah, little Jakey Poo. You know I love you.
Thank you. It was really
Christmas
nice.
hug. Christmas
Yeah.
hug.
Melissa, it was a pleasure.
Yes,
Thanks for coming on,
thank you so
Melissa.
much. This was really fun, you guys.
I love your tree, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you can't quite see it, but it's got the really UFO kind of phasing lights there.
Like
Nice. Nice. Merle,
Sit there
thanks,
and be
buddy.
mesmerized.
All right.
All right. Thank you
All right.
guys so much. This was really fun.
Good night.
All right.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas, Happy New Year's, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night. Good night. Good night. And all they go. I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll be right back, people. Sensational Sherry, how are you? Good to see you. Big thank you tonight to T-Bone ×3 with a hat trick, Louie with a hat trick, Jake, Phil, Lori, W. Decker, and Major Lee for the super chats. Very much appreciated. Dakota Layden. There's little Jimmy Goodall hanging out in the chat room. You can meet him in Reno, May 10th through 12th, 2024, at our third annual fan party in Reno, Nevada. Make sure you come hang out with us at the, what is it? Silver Legacy Casino and Resort. Info at spacedoutradio.com. Tickets go on sale in early January, so make sure you scoop them on up. Here we go, everybody, with hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all the latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Let's take a look here. Xanthocomic. Xanthocomic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join us on Patreon in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the night where we say hello to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and another creepy story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. The Black Mass. Hi, Steve. So glad you've joined us here in New England. I have a story from my childhood that I'd like to share for your new show. During my childhood, I lived in a small town in Massachusetts that held great historical significance. It was the birthplace of the term Minutemen, which originated during the Revolutionary War. As I grew older, I learned from a friend who lived nearby that he'd seen Revolutionary War soldiers in the woods behind his house preparing for battle. When I was 3 years old, my mother and I moved into an apartment and were excited to have our own little space. I'm now 38 years old, but I vividly remember it all as if it happened yesterday. I remember having problems sleeping immediately after we moved in. I developed night terrors and would wake up in the middle of the night at the same time, 3 a.m., experiencing utter terror. I was so young that I couldn't rationalize what was going on and would scream for my mother to get me and take me to her room. Every night at the same time, this happened. It'd be like I was woken up out of a sound sleep because of sheer terror and just had to get out of that room. In my mom's room, I would hear strange music coming from nowhere in the silence of the night and see bizarre flashing lights soaring around the room. It's a wonder I ever slept at all. Flash forward 2 years. At this point, I'm 5 years old. This one particular night, I went to bed and woke up, as you guessed it, at 3 a.m. So I'm just laying in bed, but only this time, I'm not screaming for my mother. I'm laying there waiting, as if something is going to happen. I can sense it in my soul. All of a sudden, in the pure silence of the night, I heard the knob turn and the door to my room opened. The door just glided extremely slowly across the carpeted floor. Something in my gut told me not to look. I knew if I looked, whatever I saw looking back at me would ruin me forever. So I just lay there, silently staring at the wall, while doing everything I could to avoid looking at the door. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, the clamorous noise echoing the darkness. I lay in fear and eventually, somehow, rocked myself to sleep. When I woke up the following morning, I immediately asked my mother if she'd gone in to check on me the previous night. She said no, because she had been asleep herself, probably ecstatic not to have been disturbed for once. The look of sheer terror on my face must have been one for the books, because someone or something definitely opened that door last night. I was wide awake. I know I was. I heard that door open and physically felt someone or something standing there looking at me. If it wasn't my mom, then who was it? It was just the two of us living there. I knew she wasn't lying. She was always honest with me. I try to forget this experience and go on with life. Now, my mom loved having fish tanks and all varieties of fish since we weren't allowed to have other pets where we lived. The fish would just keep dying. I know fish die, and it could be a coincidence, but my mom knew how to take care of them, and it was just odd how frequently it was happening. We came home one day, and all of them were dead. All of them. My mom just shrugged, said she had no idea what happened, and chalked it off to bacteria or something in the water. That's not what I think it was. I went to bed that night and woke up, you guessed it, at the same time, 3 a.m. I groggily looked over to my closet, which was directly across from my bed, and saw through the darkness a huge black shadow or black mass just hovering over the closet. This thing was massive and the blackest black I've ever seen to this day. I was paralyzed with fear and screamed for my mother, who rushed in to see what was wrong. And, to my horror, she saw it too. She hurriedly turned the light on, and the black mass still hovered over the closet. Looking back as an adult, I know how terrified she must have been. She didn't want me to be scared, though, and I commend her for this. So she just got in my bed with me, pulled the covers up over us both, and held me close until we finally fell asleep. I have no idea how long that thing hovered there. To this day, I have no idea what we saw that night or what was actually happening there. Whatever was there didn't seem to have any good intentions for us, and we ultimately moved not long after that terrifying night. It frightens me to think that something was actually watching me on all those sleepless nights and just preying on my innocence. Unfortunately, my mom is not with us anymore, but I asked her about that night about 15 years ago, and she remembered it vividly, but could not explain it. I could tell she was uncomfortable talking about it, and she hurriedly changed the subject. I was hoping she said she didn't remember, so it could all be chalked up to my young, wild imagination. But her confirming that it happened chills me to the core to this day. If you ever find yourself in central Massachusetts, beware. You never know what might be watching you while you sleep. I hope you enjoy this story. Signed, Parker.
And thank you to Steve Stockton for allowing us to play another spooky story to kick off hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio. You can find more of Steve's stories over at youtube.com/Among the Missing. And don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. From the missing to the mysterious, sweet Robbie G hanging on out with us for the UFO report.
Nobody's going to know.
They're going to know.
there isn't much to talk about right now in the UFO world because, well, let's face it, Christmas is right around the corner. All the government houses are shut down for the Christmas vacation. Sweet Robbie G's chin hair needs a re-dyeing of red color.
Yeah, it does.
And how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I am quite all right. I am quite all right. You know, I told my daytime boss, I said, boss, I'm going to be late to work tomorrow because we have our Christmas, what do you call it? Luncheon that we do with the staff there. And so everybody brings a meal, and I'm doing a charcuterie board tomorrow.
Yeah, good choice.
So I got to get some olives and some pickles and some meats and cheese and cut them all up, some cucumbers and all sorts of good stuff that we're going to do there.
Sounds good. I was at my mother's yesterday, and she had a charcuterie board over there yesterday. So coincidentally.
The hard part for me is trying to figure out which of the awesome meat to get. You know, because that's what I always struggle with. Because, you know, everybody gets like Black Forest ham and honey ham and all sorts of, you know, there's 76 types of hams you can get the butcher to carve up for you. Yeah. I like the interesting stuff.
We had 3 different type of salamis. I don't recall what they were, but it was a trio. So it was pretty good.
That's very nice. Very nice. You know, but yeah, I'm going to pig out tomorrow. That's for sure. That is for sure. And you got some swag.
Yes, sir.
From the SOR store.
Yep. Got some Spaced Out Radio socks. I got Spaced Out Radio shirt they saw me wear last weekend on Saturday and Sunday. And tumbler. Spaced Out Radio tumbler. So appreciate you, Dave.
That's what I do.
Yes, sir.
That's what I do. So one of the weird stories that we are going to be covering here tonight on the UFO Report is this story about a retired admiral who claims that there's contact between the U.S. government and aliens.
Yeah, that's what he said.
What's this about?
That is what he said. You know what? There's not a lot of context there, although they did report on this on the Hill. And yeah, he clearly states that, matter of factly, that the government is actually in contact with extraterrestrial. Now, thing is that, so I don't know who this admiral is. Like, I've never seen him before. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of deep diving into who he is in order to kind of validate a statement like that. So, you know, I don't know. This is hot off the press, though. So maybe it's believable. We know for a fact that it's true, but where does he get his information from? That's the question.
Well, being an admiral and so highly ranked, you know that he would be influenced by a lot of top secret type of information. So that really doesn't surprise me that much. But to come out publicly and state that this is going on, I think it's a little... Do you think at this point right now it's pushing the ball forward?
If it's true, then yes, then it's more of what I wanted and would hope for, that you'd have others from the government stepping out with really great information. So this takes it Russia's statement a step further and kind of validates what he said, and you know, kind of adds to the whole mystery here. So as long as this guy can be validated, you know, and his statement can be therefore validated, then I think this adds a lot to the conversation.
The question is, you know, I was talking to one of my insiders the other night about this, and one of the things that he said that really made sense to me was that the public really doesn't know, and ufology really doesn't know how compartmentalized the UFO world is. And there are very, very few people who actually know what is going on, because they just break it on down to the point where there's so few people in the know. And I find that very interesting. Like, he believed that there was maybe 300 to 500 people who actually know in the United States 100% for fact what is going on in the UFO world, not the UAP world, the UFO world.
Man, I don't know, Dave. That sounds like a good number, but I don't know. I mean, that the group that knows the secret is so secret that it's hard to really say if that's a good enough answer or not. So I would have never guessed that it was 300. So I would have thought a lot smaller than that, but I don't know. Maybe.
Don't forget, people retire.
Oh, well, that
Okay.
Okay.
So there are people who have retired or passed away who have had interaction with this phenomenon, or the pieces of the phenomena of UFOs, right? So that's kind of where it gets a little stickier, and but I agree with you. I think the number is small, and I think the government has their reasons. We don't have to agree with those reasons. I sure as hell don't agree with the reasons. But on the flip side, the UFO story is going to get real interesting apparently in 2024. We're going to be able to
So
hopefully eventually see the book of Lou Elizondo come out, which is going to cause months of friction once everybody's read it. Okay, it's going to, we're going to see who else David Grush calls out. Are you hopeful that there are more people who step out of the woodwork? Do you think that's going to happen?
This gives me hope with the admiral coming out and making a statement like this before the end of the year. This is something clearly he could have held till next year. He didn't have to come out and say this now. So yeah, I mean, if others are going to follow his lead, then 2024 should be interesting. Not only that, but Gress still has his statement to make, whatever that's going to be. You have Lou Elizondo's book. You also have the Bob Lazar film. And I talked to James Fox the other day briefly as I'm trying to get him on the show. And he's still wrapping up his documentary. So, anytime he drops a documentary, it always adds to the conversation. So I think 2024 is going to be pretty epic.
Yeah. What do we need to see in 2024, Rob?
Probably.
Because I really hope it's not the same. I'm tired of the political arguing.
Yeah, I mean, I would think more hearings. We're due for another round of hearings. We were supposed to have some this year, but it looks like obviously we're not going to make it. So I would assume more hearings, maybe more whistleblowers testifying in front of Congress. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say because whenever you think you got it figured out, you really don't. And the only things that we know for sure are going to happen are the things I mentioned, like the book and the movie, the documentary. Those things are going to keep the conversation really active and alive. And then I think other things that we can't foresee are going to drop into the cracks. So it should make it for an eventful 2024.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an eventful 2024 as well, but I think it might go in different directions. I think there's going to be a point where people start to get fed up with the government. People start to get fed up with the same players telling the same stories. So it's going to be interesting to see how it diversifies with everything. And I hope it does, because if it doesn't and we get pretty much the same, I think it's going to say a lot about what happens moving forward with this topic, because a lot of people believe we've already started this new trend called catastrophic disclosure. Okay, which the only way it could end in a positive note is if the aliens themselves come down and land and say hello.
I'm team catastrophic disclosure, by the way, so I'm all for that. Because there's different definitions of what it really means. So, yeah, I mean, what can you do? The government has done the same thing every single year for the last 50, 60, 70 years. So people will start to get fed up with that. I was fed up a long time ago. So it takes time for each person to feel that way. And I don't doubt that there will be people that get fed up, but it's not because they're doing anything different. I mean, it's the same playbook. They're doing the same things, and you just end up growing tired of it. So, yeah.
I don't think we're going to get aliens in 2024, though.
No. We're never going to get them. Not from the government. I mean, we're never going to get them. That's the real answer to it. We will never, ever, ever. So we can sit and have this conversation every year for the rest of eternity, and it's always going to be, well, what are they going to do next year? What are we looking for next year? It's always going to be that conversation because they will never disclose it. It will never come from them. So, I mean, as long as people understand that part, we can play the political games, and it's kind of entertaining to see what it is that they will do. And at the end of the day, I would hope that they would, have that compassion to want to do, like I read the presidential speech the other day on the show After Hours. Come out and do that. You know what I mean? That'll put the cherry on top. But other than that, it's politicians doing what politicians do, which is a lot of posturing, wasting time until the end of the year, pushing issues into the next year, and it's just a continuous loop.
Yeah, I see that as well. It is that continuous loop. But we do need names. And one thing that we really lacked in 2023 was the amount of people who stopped speaking or wouldn't speak to the UFO public, but would be all over News Nation or CNN or Fox News, in order to try and get the story out there. Why do you think that so many of these groups in 2024 decided to really shun ufology?
That's a great question, truthfully. I don't have the answer. I wonder the same thing. A lot of these guys I've reached out to for interviews and, no response. But then you see them pop up on News Nation or some other network. Like, okay, I understand needing to take the message mainstream, but we still need to have the conversation here within ufology. So it blows my mind. I don't know what the motive is. It's really hard to say. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah, I think we all are at this point, because the one thing that we can say is ufology really did turn into a real ball of confusion this past year. And, I think what we're all looking for is a little bit of clarity and respect, just a little bit. Would you agree on that?
Yeah. I mean, put some respect on our name, right? That's really what it is. We have in ufology, we have all of the data, all of the real data. We have all of the experiencers. We have all of the historians, experts in this field. So yeah, I mean, that's total disrespect to want to turn your back and not shine light on this community.
Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this with Sweet Robbie G filling in for the heading home, Courtney Marcassani. We will be right back on Spaced Out Radio right after this. Please stay tuned. All right, we're clear, Robbie.
All right. Hey, Van Gogh, appreciate you. A few others I'm sure I missed. Yeah, Dave. Same game, man. And that's why I kind of free myself of it, because if you invest yourself into this, into the political side of this, you'll get exhausted. It'll wear you down. And there's just no way that I'm going to invest myself emotionally into what the politics are, because the end goal is they're not going to release any information. So they're going to string me along for the rest of my life, pretty much. And I feel sorry for the people that allow themselves to be in that situation, because there's a lot of people that are. And, you know, I think there can be a balance of, you know, like I said, if they do release any information, if they do bring disclosure, okay, cherry on top. But we already, just like you said, this community already has all the data that we need really to disclose to the public. Like if we all got together with this data experiencers and we brought this to the public unified, we would bring the disclosure. So I don't know.
It's going to be very interesting, my man.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Definitely.
Give me a sec. Should try spelling disclosure properly. All right, we got a couple topics here.
Yeah, I sent you something earlier this week. I think I have it here.
That was the story we just talked about.
Not that one. There was the one that Grant Levac had posted, and I forwarded it to you. Let me see. It was about Australia.
Okay.
Australia caught in a lie on UAP.
All right.
Yeah.
Is the story pulled up?
Yeah.
I'll get right to that here when we come back. We got about 2 minutes here.
Yeah, man. So we're getting close, man. So what do you wrapping everything up? You got all your Christmas shopping done?
Most of it, like 95% of it. Like if we couldn't get the other little bit done, we'd be okay.
Yeah. I'm going out of town, so I'll be in Las Vegas for Christmas. So we'll be leaving out the next day or two.
That is awesome.
It is kind of awesome, but traveling during the holidays isn't really that awesome. That's the part, because I'm the driver. I'm going to be
right.
Yeah, exactly. So all the passengers get to enjoy themselves, but I'm the driver.
Lovely.
Yeah.
How long is the drive?
It's about 4 hours. Not long at all. I do that easily. That's the same time it takes to get to Sacramento. So I just drove out there yesterday. No, 2 days ago. I came back yesterday. And go see my mama.
That is awesome. I'm just closing my eyes here thinking about what it's going to be like hanging out with my dad for like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I already told my little guy, so when we get down to the lower mainland, him and I have to sneak away so he can go get some shopping done for his sisters and his mama and grandpa.
Nice.
Yeah. That'll be good.
Susan says, will SOR be live on Friday?
This Friday, yes.
Yeah.
Following Friday, yes. All right, a big thank you to T-Bone, ×3 with a hat trick, Louie with a hat trick, Major Lee, W. Decker, Lori, Phil, Jake for the super chats. Very much appreciate the love. And here we go, everybody, in 5 seconds. Here we go. We return for the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning us on in. Reminder to all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot and read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Final time tonight, we say hello to Steve, to Sweet Robbie G. My tongue got tied. Where he comes in for the UFO report, filling in for the vacationing, I guess we could call it, Courtney Marcassani. We're hopeful that she will be here on Friday. Rob, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, all day, Dave, all day.
I was reading this story that a little weird, man. A little weird, okay? That Tucker Carlson is pretty much saying, quote, there are kinds of forces that aren't human that do exist in the spiritual realm of some kind that we cannot see. And then when you think about it, will sort of make you think we live in an ant farm. What's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, let's break that down. So what does he know? You know what I mean? Like, okay, that sounds kind of cryptic. Yeah, I would have to question him and ask him, what does he know? Like, what do you mean by that? Are we on an ant farm? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, Dave. What do you think about that?
I think he's getting certain points misconstrued. I think he's part of the fear-mongering plan. I mean, right now, his show alone, since he moved it over to X, is getting hundreds of millions of views compared to what it was over on Fox. So that's always a positive on a career note. Okay. But as a person, I don't know him. You know, I really don't. But here's what we do know. He is continuing to take a major fascination in this story, which is great. We need that.
Right. Yeah, we do. And I've always applauded him for that. So regardless on his political views or whatnot, I've always applauded him for pushing the UFO narrative. He did it when he was on Fox, and he's still continuing to do it. So yeah, applaud him for that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think people make statements like that unless they have information that they were given. And then if you pair that up with this admiral coming out and making a statement like he did, and then try to correlate if those things are related or maybe come from the same source, I don't know, man. Gets you thinking for sure. And I don't know if we'll ever figure that out. I guess we'd have to, someone would have to ask the question to get down to the bottom of it. But maybe those two things come from the same source.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
You're maturing out there.
Back to back.
You got that right. The other story that I wanted to talk to you about was I heard a rumor, and I'll mention it because we've never really been fans of this show in supporting people like the Enigma Labs.
Okay.
And from what I'm hearing, the Enigma Labs could be on the verge of shutting down due to lack of public support, due to lack of screening in the content that they have been sent. And look, Enigma Labs has made a lot of flaws for people to immediately distrust this company, Rob. I'm sure you would agree with that. from not telling who their investigators are, wanting all your personal information, including the color of your underwear. Okay. And they are curious about that. They want to know more. But the most important part is they want to hog that information. Look what I know. Look what I was able to get. That is scary, considering, we really don't know what's going on. We really don't know how to address this subject. And as long as they're hiding it behind the old UAP banner that you wave, okay, it's
not me, buddy.
I'm teasing. But until they wave into their own aspects of what this is all about, I think we're going to be in trouble again. And it could be Groundhog Day in 2024, my friend.
Oh, good riddance, man. Good riddance. All of these pop-up organizations that take that same route, there's a lot of them out there. I know you have a issue with at least a couple of them. Good riddance, man. I mean, if you're not, if the data isn't going to be collected and shared with the people, there's going to be a paywall there, or any sort of NDA or something that's going to block the information being shared with the public. I'm not part of that program, so I say good riddance, and let's bring in the next organization should consider transparency and maybe take a different path. You know what I mean? They're doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong.
See, I haven't been open and honest about Enigma because they haven't been open and honest to us.
Right.
And the only thing that I can do is say, look, if you have a UFO report, this is who I recommend. I can guarantee you Enigma in the labs is not in that position.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we have to have, the next group has to have something, has to be an organization based on being transparent with humanity. Or who else are you holding the data for, is what I would wonder. Like, why would you have a paywall or an NDA to block the data from being able to be shared? Why? I don't know.
$1 billion question, isn't it?
Right. Well, good riddance.
Well, the key, like I said, is we all have a voice in this. And this is why I say to our listeners, get to know your MP if you're in Canada. Get to know your state legislature in Washington, D.C. This is where you need to be able to understand where we're going with this. We really do. Take it away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say? I've never followed a lot of those groups. So, there's been so many of them, UAPX, which I think that's who, Jeremy or McGowan.
Yes.
Okay. Your buddy. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the intent, the real intent isn't really there. You know what I mean? To and I'm a karma based person, so I think it's really ends up being karma at the end of the day, which is why they're not successful. They're dropping like flies.
All right, Robbie. I am very much convinced that Enigma Labs, getting back to this, I think they sliced their own throat. I hate to use that ugly terminology, but when you're not announcing who your investigators are, who your researchers are, who are your primary understanding of where your information is going to go, will you be able to update it? Will you be able to create it more? These were all questions that really didn't come to fruition.
Right.
Right. It's like me taking you, a big California dude, and plopping you at center ice at a hockey rink and saying, go.
Right.
And then me yelling from the bench, Go get the puck.
Now I can skate now. I can ice skate, so I might be able to do a little bit of that, but I get it.
You know, I mean, hey, we're all looking for different angles on how this works. But when we talk transparency with the government, does that not include what these other government affiliates are doing for these subjects?
Right. But once again, I mean, you have to wonder who they're working for, right? So are they working for themselves to benefit themselves? Who does their work benefit at the end of the day? That's the question.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge question. What would you like to see happen in 2024?
Ooh, I would like to see aliens landing or coming forth through an event that I hopefully can put together in 2024 with CE5 and kind of just bringing in disclosure and showing the government that you're going to have to get on board. Like you're going to have to play catch up. Like instead of us sitting here waiting for you, you're going to when you realize that we can get this ourselves, that's going to move the needle for the government, and hopefully that's what we see in 2024. More of them playing more fairly with us and kind of being more open with us. So that's what I hope for. Doubt it, but that's what I hope for.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not on the aliens. Oh, we
Oops.
got some music coming through.
My bad. Wrong button.
Good. All right. It kind of just blew my train of thought there for a second.
Trying to hit my mute.
I think in 2024, I think we're going to see at least one more whistleblower come forward. The stories may not be as amazing as what David Grush has told us, but I do see it moving forward in a confirmation level, not on a UAP scale.
Yeah. I mean, man, all we can do is sit back and watch, man. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's if anything that the government does, anything that comes from that way for me is just the cherry on top. Like I don't look forward to anything happening or anything additional going on. If something happens, great. But I think more of 2024 needs to be more focused on us getting together and making something move within us. I think that's what we need to do in 2024.
Yeah. But how do you trust the movement though, when the movement really hasn't done anything to advance this story outside of social media? It's been a completely different type of atmosphere because of social media and private groups and private conversations.
So you mean the movement within our ufology or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I think I said this before, there's too many different teams within ufology not playing together. And I think we need to, like a lot of shows, for example, need to bring their bases together next year. And we need to try to get something going as a group, as a unit. Hopefully we can do that. You know what I mean? There's some shows I'm sure that won't mix and match, but I think until we start moving in that direction, we're going to just be having the same conversations every year. So I think we need to, block out what the government is saying, get together as ufology and put this thing together. We have to. Someone has to move. Someone has to get out there and be physical. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm trying to do the CE5 thing, because there's not many, everybody's sitting back doing nothing, just sitting at home, not trying to affect the change, just doing it by talking or, not really putting any action into it. And I think we need as a community to put more action into our words next year.
That's very well said. You're so mature.
I'm just for humanity, man. I want to get this thing moving. And there's really only a few ways to get that done. And it's going to take action. And as long as we pay attention and spend our time paying attention to what the government is saying or doing, that's what they want. That's the distraction. That's to stop us from getting together and making the needle move, is paying attention to what they're doing. So, we can let them play their game, but we need to do something as us. So, yeah.
And what is that for humanity, that us?
Well, I mean, we have to first realize that we're all on the same team because, there's a lot of infighting and separation within ufology, which is ridiculous to me. I look around and I see we're all supposed to be going for the same goal, but I think there's a lot of groups out there that are just, well, I won't even say, I'll say show hosts that are that lead their viewers don't really have their best interests at heart because they're not letting them be opened up to the full conversation. It's more about what we do here. This is what we do here, and not about, hey, you should be mingling with them and we should all be talking together. But a lot of people are worried about ego and their own numbers, which I think gets in the way of what this thing should be. So
no,
I'm pushing that, Dave. I push that all the time. So
yeah, but we have to push it.
Yeah,
We have to push it because if we don't, who's going to?
exactly. That's my point. That's my point. And it's like, okay, you have a platform to do so. So you have to use that platform for its purpose. And that's to make this thing move, not just talk and have conversations, but to if you're gonna have a conversation that helps move the needle. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I like getting into. So
I love it. I love it. Besides, maybe we could get some aliens to fly into your yard. Maybe
well,
that's what you need.
If my event is successful, then it'll be a pretty decent thing. What I'm trying to do, I don't want to give it all away, but it has to do with C5 and setting something up on a date. So I've already put the word out there, and I have leads on some people that would be interested in linking up on this. So trying to put it together for maybe mid next year. And I could talk to you about that, obviously, behind the scenes, too, because I reached out to Tim Senor because I felt like we could take it a step further and maybe document it. And so, we're in the early talks on that. So should be interesting, man. But I'm trying to do something to help move the needle. Yeah, we need a text messaging set up for reporting 1-800 UFOs, UAPs, asking when, where, and what. Yeah, I mean, essentially, that you have the right idea, Jenny. We have to have a centralized database that's accessible for us, and I think that's one of the big things. Like you would think a MUFON or a Newfork would be that, but it really isn't. They still hold their data to. Well, Newfork more so. They actually give you the ability to go through their database. But yeah, we need something within humanity that we can all access, that we all source and put all of our information in there. That's how we have to do this, because as long as the information is scattered and separated, then for the broader humanity, it's going to be hard for them to put those pieces together. So yeah, we have to do this, and you have the right idea, Jenny.
Yeah. 2 minutes to go here before we have to say goodnight. Sweet Robbie G in the hot seat on the UFO report. Rob, overall, how would you score 2023 as the year of the UFO? Would you score it an A, a B?
A good question, man. Actually, I would have to give it a B plus, man. Actually, it was a really good year. A lot of things happened this year that did definitely move the needle. And even though we had a lot of pushback from Kirkpatrick and NASA, mainly trying to stop this from happening. We had a lot of great things happen this year.
Yeah. Well, any specific highlights for you?
David Grush coming out. The UAP report finally admitting or disclosing the shapes, because that was redacted during, for 2022, it was redacted. So they finally did that, which things like, and that's I'll go back to that, because people say nothing burger, but when they do something like that, that opens up the conversation to what people are actually seeing in these skies.
What do you think people are seeing?
Well, they're seeing the things that I filmed. Truthfully, the white spheres, silver translucent spheres, that's what they added to the UAP report. And they admitted that those are the things that they're seeing more than others. And I think doing that allows other people who are seeing these things to validate their own sighting. So I think that one little thing actually helped out a lot.
Well, you know what? I think you're right on track. And I think it's something that we got to keep an eye on moving forward into 2024. I would rate 2023 a solid B+. We had a lot of good news come out. We had a lot of progress moving the ball forward. What we didn't have was more names and solid evidence, from videos to notes that had been made up. And we also, I gave it some deductions because of the words that they keep saying, which is transparency and UAP, which neither we will get. That's my point. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your car, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yeah, we got room for them too. Good night.
Awesome stuff, buddy.
Yeah.
You had to point out my beard, though, huh? Yeah, gotta bring that.
Color it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the holiday, so I was like, I'm off. You know what I'm saying? So,
are you trying to be sweet with snow in his chin hair, or what?
No, I know. I was looking at that today. I was gonna do it today. But yeah, so my mom, like I said, my mom loved the merch, man. I gave her my Tumblr, and she's gonna be hitting up the SOR store and buying up all the Rob G merch. So you better get your Rob G merch while you can, because my mother is going to buy most of it.
The beauty of our store is there will always be enough.
I want to see somebody in Reno with one on. The first person I see with one on, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something special. I don't know.
Buy him a drink. Buy him a drink.
There we go.
A nice pink lady or Shirley Temple.
Yeah, we could do that. That's a bet. First person I see with a Rob G shirt on.
Chat. I'll be right back.
Drink
guys.
of your choice. Okay. Drink of your choice if you have a Rob G shirt on. Yeah, drink of your choice. Except for nothing crazy, guys. Nothing crazy. It's a regular drink. So hope you guys have a great holiday. Also, yeah. So we talked about this last weekend, but obviously this weekend will be running stuff from the archive. But the live chat will be active, so you guys will have definitely a place to come chat. And okay, Long Island Iced Tea says to Monk Man, okay, it's all good. You got to have on that Rob G shirt though. Or at least the socks. I'm not going to validate if you got on the Rob G draws, though. I'm not going to do that. So, you got on the Rob G socks or the Rob G shirt. Drinks on me. Lex Diaz, Sacramento. That's my city. I was just there, Lex. I just came from there yesterday. I just got back. I miss Sacramento. I do. Let's see. Beef tongue tacos from Taco Truck. Yeah. Van Gogh. Are there panties? I don't think there are right now. We're gonna add them though. Definitely gotta have some panties in there. Yeah. What do you say, Deb from Sac? I must have missed it. Oh, where in Sacramento are you gonna be? I was in the Midtown area. Right off of 99 and off of Alhambra. You too, CS. Have a great holiday. Have a great holiday. Like I said, I'm gonna be driving, but we'll be in Las Vegas. And Vegas to me is, I go there so much that it's really not special to me. You know what I mean? Like for someone else. I'm there all the time, literally. Like kind of just drive there just to drive sometimes. But Reno will be fun. See, that's the thing for me. When I was in Sacramento, I used to go to Reno a lot. But since I've been out here, I haven't, I'm in Vegas so much that Reno will be a nice change for sure. Oh, Lex, you're from the Thomas. Okay. I just drove through there when I got there. I was out there off of Truxell. I know you know where that's at. I was off of Truxell and I was over on North Gate as well. North Gate del Camino. Merry Christmas to you too, Jenny. Hope you have a great, great, wonderful holiday. And come see us on New Year. We're going to have a lot of great fun. Oh, we need to put the panel together too, Dave, for New Year's. I don't know who's going to be willing to, yeah. Who's not going to be busy.
Yeah, right.
Gee, do you know Citrus Heights? Yeah, definitely. Yep. I was in Sacramento for a long time. I don't even want to date myself. Decades. We'll say decades. Back when the Sacramento Kings used to play not in Arco 1. So if you know Arco 1, that's how long I've been there.
I remember in 1994 driving by the Arco 1 Arena.
Oh, that's Arco 2. That's the new. Drove past the Arco 2. The big brown one, right? The tan
I
one.
don't know. It was in the middle of the night when we drove by.
Yeah. That's the Arco 2. Arco 1 was a warehouse that they converted into a basketball stadium just to get the team in. And then they built the one that you saw afterwards. Literally a warehouse. Yeah, Alhambra, Moody Mongo. If you know Sacramento, there's a street called Alhambra. It's in Midtown. Yeah, Van Gogh, Buck Owens song about Bakersfield. I'm probably 2 miles from Buck Owens Drive. He has a street out here. So does Haggard. There's a lot of history here in Bakersfield. Philip Blair. I heard Reno has Circus Circus. Actually, I think that's the last time I stayed there. Philip was at Circus Circus. I won some tickets from the radio station when I was a kid. I was like 11 years old, something like that, 12 years old. And I won some tickets to Reno, and my mother took me. Yeah, man, go Merle Haggard, huh?
We're gonna have a blast.
No, it's gonna be bombastic, man. It's gonna be real crazy. Can't wait to meet Jim Goodall and ride in this Corvette. He said we could ride, so I'm gonna take him up on that. And he said he's gonna go about 185, and I'm gonna take him up on that too. Yeah, Lex. Yeah, definitely from the neighborhood out there. You already know Sacramento. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's a street in Sacramento, Moody Mongol. Philip, I don't know if Reno has a UFO museum. It's a good question. It's Nevada, so they have a lot of sightings out there. They, Area 51, all that stuff is in the state of Nevada. I wouldn't be surprised if they had one. But if you come, we'll go look for one. How about that? Come to Reno and we'll go look for one. Oh, they had Sam's Town, Circus. Oh, you thought, okay.
What should we get for our special prize this year?
For the viewer?
Yeah. For those who come, we should do. Last year I gave away a pair of autographed Spaced Out Radio shoes.
Okay. Yeah. Autograph merch would be, awesome. Maybe take a picture with the merch and autograph. I'm going to autograph anyway. So if you I'm going to have a pen on hand. So if you want me to sign your shirt, I'm doing it. And
I want you to sign my
shirts.
I want you to sign my nipples.
I don't know, Dave. I don't know if I'm doing that one. Man. I don't know, Dave. No, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. That's crossing lines, man. It's crossing lines, Dave. But I will sign your Rob G socks if you got some Rob G socks. And Van Gold, Dave requested Rob G panties for the store, so I guess whenever you get around to that.
T-Bone, you're gonna have to fly out of Bellingham, Legionnaire.
While in Vegas, you're gonna investigate the alien sighting from Maine. I thought about doing that, but the family had already been bombarded by so many different people that it would, that part had worn off already. The ability to just get in contact with them. Now, if anything, if I had the address, I would definitely go by where the location, but everybody's doing that. So I would love to talk to the kid. And maybe if as more time goes, maybe he'll be more open to talking. Yeah, I think where RG said he did go there to Mount man. I think he said that.
Yeah,
Don't
RG
quote me. Yeah, I think I remember him saying that.
Yeah, so try and get there if you are planning on coming to Reno. Try and get there as early on Friday as possible, because our show is going to be starting. Our live show is going to be starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, and right after we're done the show, we're going to have our VIP party, and we want to make sure that everybody is in tune with that.
For
Hello
sure.
on Facebook.
And Lex Diaz said, Rob G, roll by. I got you on some carne asada barbecue next time you come by. I will be by then, Lex Diaz, next time I'm in Sacramento. You can bet that I'm coming to get that asada.
Hold on. You can't have some of that barbecue without me. Where you barbecue?
Man, it's the benefits of living in America, man. Where's your passport, Dave? Where's your passport?
Yeah, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
You can't get any asada if you don't have a passport, Dave Scott.
I hear. VIP, we have our regular tickets are $60. VIP tickets are $100. That comes with a VIP swag bag that we're going to have a bunch of goodies for you, and it also gets you access into the VIP party, just like last year.
Jesse Davenport loves that. No passport, no barbecue. It's a true statement, though. How can you get it? How else can you get it?
Yeah, I got to do a big search for that.
Yeah, you got 5 months, so my man's goatee is busting in
Tim
there.
Mothman and his goatee are going to be there.
Yeah.
I know you are, Debster. I hope you come. I hope you can make it there.
Yeah, Deb's right there. Sacramento's right over the hill. And in Sacramento, they have this thing called the Mega Bus, right? So for all the gamblers, they go all meet up at a grocery store, and then for like $10 or something like that, the bus will take them 300 miles or 200 miles over to Reno.
Mm-hmm.
And bring them back.
So this is what I'm going to do for my beard, Rob.
Yeah.
I've decided. I'm going to auction off somebody to shave my beard in Reno. Okay.
Are you going baby bottom bald on your face?
No. Keep the stubble going.
Okay.
But this is what I'm going to do. Whoever the highest bidder is, okay, we're going to, let's say it's $25. Okay. We're going to take that money. We're going to head down to the roulette table. And we're going to try and double it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Black or red. Nice and simple. Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah.
Black or red.
I like that.
If we double it, we're going to split the profit.
Yeah. I like roulette. That's a good pick.
What do you think of that? I think that's a good
That's
fun.
awesome. Yeah. Yep. Let's do it. Put it all on one color. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip Blair, Lake Tahoe is not far from Reno, but it's a heck of a task getting there, believe me. The windy 2-lane roads on the side of a cliff, that's not fun. So Reno, yeah, it's just not. It's really close though. It's really close. Yeah, they do say that Van Gogh. Wesley Snipes said always bet on black. I don't know. I have a little system that I use. I'll alternate from red and black, and then I'll also throw in even and uneven. But I don't go any further than that. Lex said beard and hair now are in equilibrium, Dave. Don't mess with it. You're going to cut your superpowers off.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's 50-50 pretty much. Yeah, 50-50, right? But I usually don't. I haven't played the real table. I do the video roulette, and I got a little system that works. Yeah, you learned that the other day, Van Gogh. See, smallest prime number is 2. You learned that in the trivia the other day. So congratulations. See, you didn't win, but you won with knowledge, right? So that is just as good as winning. Dave should make a pair of mittens out of his beard. Okay, yeah, why not? We gotta do something with it, right?
All right. Rob, it's that time of the night where we got to say goodnight to everybody.
All right.
And I want to say a big thank you to T-Bone ×3 and Lori and Louie with a hat trick, Jake, Phil, W. Decker, Major Lee. Really appreciate the love tonight, guys. Thank you. Tomorrow night on the show, Dr. Michael P. Masters.
Good one.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Robbie, we'll see you maybe on Friday.
Yeah, I'll be here. If you're here, I'm here, man.
All right,
straight
brother.
up.
You're the best.
All right, y'all.
We'll talk soon.
Later.
Peace.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.